KUAM News brings you Banking 671, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented locally by Ambrose Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
With the new challenges we're all facing,
say what you want, I don't really care. Call me a rebel, I'm not really scared. There's no sense denying the system has already failed. What I don't understand, you could keep a straight face and tell us it's okay. There's a brighter day. But when you need the help, the money spent on the people they know who told us it was okay. There's a brighter day. Lord, say what you want, I don't really care. Call me a rebel, I'm not really scared. There's no sense denying the system has already failed. There's no sense quit lying, the system has already failed. I'm tired of lies, is what my people cry. Payday to payday, struggling on minimum wage. All the hands that you shake, the fake smiles that you make, you tell us it's okay, there's a brighter day. Lord, say what you want, I don't really care. Call me a rebel.
Oh yeah, I had to let that one play a little bit. Good morning, good morning, Guam. Viva Betness. Betness. Friday, yes. Right on.
I'm moving it slowly.
I know, okay. It's 6:19. Kicking it off with my late party there, Savage K. Repo. On containing COVID, the KUAM News Takeover, Guam's favorite. We're KUAM FM, Agani, Guam. Good morning. It's Friday, 6:20. Lots going on this morning as there are two locations to get the commodities, and both of them looked pretty jam-packed. I know you went by the one up in Dedido this morning, right?
Yes, the line was all the way at Gwistig Road, but I didn't go, further down south. But
Right.
yeah, it was really long, and then it took me a while to get through the traffic. So I called you. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be here all the time.
And then I drove by T-Gen, and there was also a line there, too. So we'll have info on that. It's 6:20 in the morning. The show is proudly brought to you by Ambrose IT&E, Coast 360, the Bank of Guam, and Calvo Enterprises. It's real information in real time as we get you through this Friday, where in about an hour and 40 minutes, you will be able to dine in a restaurant if that's what you're into this morning. So we'll have info on that. We're going to get Division of Environmental Health Food Safety Manager Catherine Del Mundo on in minutes just to kind of discuss what it's going to be like for you when you and if you go out to dine in a restaurant. This is almost like a historic day. Right? The day the dine-in returned. But are you guys going to dine in? Are you willing to go and dine in? Personally, I kind of got used to the takeout. Mm-hmm. It's convenient.
The grab and go.
The grab and
I mean, they got me on lock, like
right, yeah.
from ordering at home or here at work.
Right, so.
I'm sorry, I said grab and go, didn't I? Grab and grub.
Grab and grub, yeah. So I guess we'll see. How's it gonna work? Do you got to wear a mask? What do you got to do? And the safety of it. Are you guys confident that it's going to be something safe to do? I think I'm going to give it a couple weeks, let you guys go out there and be the guinea pigs. And then I'm going to check all my public health peeps, and if the coast is clear, then maybe I'll go out. But, I got a whole Brad pack with me that I take, so I don't know. Yeah, we're not going to be... might be doing some solo dinners, maybe. 6:22, as we always do, let's start the day with a dive into the COVID-19 headlines from the KUAM News team. Good morning, Sabrina Salas-Mantanani.
Hafa Adai, good morning, everyone. We start with the latest numbers from the Joint Information Center. Public Health's lab ran 62 samples and one turned up positive, bringing the number of COVID cases on Guam to 172, 5 deaths, and 143 recoveries. Governor Lulian Guerrero has officially extended her public health emergency declaration for Guam another 30 days following the signing of Executive Order 2020-16 on Thursday. The declaration, which was scheduled to expire on May 30th, will now remain in effect until June 30th. Effective at 8 a.m. today, dine-in service at local restaurants will reopen, but on a limited occupancy. Salad bars, buffets, and self-service operation of any kind are prohibited. Social gatherings or congregations will also now be limited to no more than 25 people, regardless of whether the individuals are of a single household unit. Additionally, effective next Monday, June 1st, all GovGuam offices, agencies, and departments will reopen to the public, but some employees will be allowed to telework. Also effective June 1st, Category 3 of the COVID-19 Response Differential Pay Plan will expire. All public, private, Schools on Guam serving pre-kindergarten through 12th grade remain closed for educational purposes. GDOE will be sending out further guidance regarding operating status to schools and central office employees. The latest executive order also appears to keep mandatory quarantine protocols in place. A passenger arriving into Guam that does not have a public health recognized and certified negative test result within a week prior to entry will be subject to quarantine. Previously, the test result had to be done within 72 hours prior to arrival. An update on the Guam Department of Education's emergency food distribution program. 2 sites are up and running today from now until 10 o'clock this morning. They are at the Teedson Upper Baseball Field and Dededo Farmers Market. There are only 2,000 food boxed at each site and are being distributed on a first-come, first-served basis. We should note that though next week GDOE will temporarily suspend food distribution to replenish supplies, secure needed equipment, and resolve logistical challenges in order to support the program's expansion to a third southern distribution site. The 3 sites are expected to take place every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the month of June, beginning on Tuesday, June 9th. Those sites, however, will be announced at a later date. Meanwhile, Public Health, GURA, the Guam Housing Coalition's 2020 Passport to Services continues today at the old Dededo Fire Station on Iglesia Circle. Homeless individuals are being tested for COVID-19 and will be provided a catered meal afterward. The testing is from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. The Office of Public Accountability is launching a government-wide performance audit of all employee compensation related to the COVID-19 emergency declaration. It's actually one of 3 audits the OPA is conducting. The other 2 focus on CARES Act expenditures and quarantine facility spending. Nestor Lecanto reports.
The OPA has sent engagement letters to every government agency, including the autonomous ones, seeking specific information related to the emergency compensation. Audit Supervisor Vincent Duenas.
One, of course, is the legal statute that governs their compensation for state of emergencies, natural disasters and such. The other thing was we wanted to find out if there were any internal memoranda from management relating to the compensation of employees during a state of emergency.
They're also asking for correspondence with the legal counsel and federal agencies, and most importantly, he says, they want the actual payroll data for each of the employees, and they want it by June 5th. Duenas explains what triggered what are now multiple audits that are underway.
Of course, the public outcry on the whole issue dealing with the compensation and the inequity of those that were getting compensated, the issue of the double pay versus the differential pay, that raised our concern. There are 3 separate teams that the public auditor has designated to address this, and so one is the hotel quarantine facilities, one is the compensation issues, and then the third one is the CARES Act budget proposal that was submitted by the administration. Those are the 3 audits that we are working on currently, directly related to the COVID response.
Duenas says they expect to be able to release the results by the end of the fiscal year, September 30th, if not sooner.
The control issue of double pay goes before the Superior Court this afternoon. The Office of the Attorney General opposes Guam Police Department Officer Steve Tapasnia's petition for a writ requesting the court to order the government to pay double pay to frontliners for hours worked during the pandemic. According to court documents, Deputy Attorney General James Canto argues a writ is a drastic remedy and Tapasnia has failed to meet the legal requirements, asking the court to set a briefing schedule and trial prior to making any decisions. Further, Attorney Canto states in court documents the decision of whether to grant pay or leave credits is a matter of discretion, and on the face of the petition, the mandamus is inappropriate. Representing Tapasnia, Attorney Tom Fisher tells KUAM he plans to file a reply prior to the hearing and says, I find it interesting that the government doesn't even mention the law requires employees to be placed on paid leave under Rule 8.406A. Arguments are expected to be heard at 2 p.m. in Judge Anita Sokola's courtroom. Meanwhile, the topic of double pay will be discussed all day today as multiple bills that have been introduced to address the issue will have public hearings. 3 separate measures were introduced by Speaker Tina Munoz-Barnes, Vice Speaker Talina Nelson, and Senator Joe S. San Agustin. Meanwhile, the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce issued a position on the issue last night, expressing their opposition of the passage of the bills. The letter signed by the organization's president, Holly Rustic, states the proposed double time pay bills may make government employees happy temporarily. However, you must also consider that paying government employees double time for hours worked during the pandemic, when many private sector employees lost their jobs or had to report to work with no possibility of seeing extra money in their paychecks, will serve to make government employees the subject of community disdain and mistrust. Former Joint Mayor Jesse Bloss will remain behind bars. Chief Judge Francis Tadenko Gatewood denied Bloss's motion for temporary release for a second time. Bloss was arrested in September of last year on extortion charges for authorizing drug trafficking through Jotnya cluster boxes. He then entered a plea agreement. Bloss faces a maximum of 20 years in prison, with his sentencing hearing set for August. Bobby Alvarez has stepped down as vice president of the Guam Visitors Bureau effective on May 31st, and former GVB head Jerry Perez is returning to replace him temporarily on Monday. GVB chairperson Sunny Addis says the moves were announced in a board meeting yesterday. This follows the retirement of Pilar Laguatnia as president last month and the appointment of former Governor Carl Gutierrez as the interim president. The board has said it is searching for a permanent president with extensive tourism experience. Governor Lulian Guerrero announced just yesterday plans for a limited reopening of the visitor industry by July 1st. Specifically, it would allow arrivals from Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan to bypass the mandatory 14-day quarantine. In regional news, we now bring in our good friend, Tomas Menglotnya. Tomas.
Good morning, Bree and Chris. Here's the latest news in the Northern Marianas. We caught up with the local representative Ed Probst after the historic passage of his animal protection bill in the legislature here. KUAM also asked about the mounting concern of spending and accountability from the executive branches. Take a listen.
Absolutely. I think whenever we start asking questions, some people in power will become apprehensive or defensive and sometimes upset. But from our angle as public servants, we know, and because we often talk about it, that one of the principles of good governance is transparency and certainly accountability. So when we want to shed light on these contracts, whether they're sole sourced or not, and whether they're justifiable or not, how could that be a bad thing? I've been a huge advocate of ensuring that sole source contracts are not done unless it's an absolute emergency, and such an emergency needs to be justified. We also have to take into consideration and just ensure for everyone's for fairness that these contracts are looked over, that they are given to perhaps the best contractor available, and that we have ensured that it's at a fair price.
He took to Facebook writing that the Marianas medical referral patients have been stuck in the Philippines, unable to return home because of restrictions caused by COVID-19. Other residents have also found themselves trapped overseas, he writes. He says that the U.S. Department of State has worked hard to help setting up special flights, and providing information on how to get special travel documents needed during the pandemic. The department, he says, advises congressional offices many times each week on this situation, and around the world, he says that constituents who need assistance or information about a specific country should contact their congressional office. KUM also reached out to a few of those residents who are stuck in the Philippines, both with families from Guam and the CNMI. And in other news, Governor Torres' office writing that the CNMI Nutrition Assistance Program office is reminding households that their responsibility as NAP recipients to report within 10 business days household changes that affect their current approved applications. The governor's office writes that resources for NAP eligibility are considered bank accounts such as checkings or savings account, cash on hand, including a non-recurring lump sum payment. And an update from the Tinian Mayor's office. The Tinian Mayor there writes that the community-based testing happening at the health center on Tinian is now accepting walk-ins to register for COVID-19 test sites. There are representatives on site that are ready to assist any residents who want to walk in at the Tinian Health Center for a COVID-19 test. And here are the latest numbers from the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation for the CNMI. The cumulative number of confirmed COVID-19 cases remains at 22, with 13 recoveries and 2 deaths. The number of persons released from quarantine is now 472, and there are updated numbers from the Community Testing Initiative. In total, Saipan has tested 4,802 residents, Tinian has tested 275 residents, and Rhoda has tested 346 residents. Bringing Chris, the governor is holding a press conference at 8 a.m. to brief media, and we'll bring that to you with the latest information from the NMI.
All right, thank you, Tomas. And this just in, we just got a release from the Guam Waterworks Authority that it received an overwhelming response to its water and wastewater system revenue bonds, Series 2020A. Excuse me, offering today. GWA successfully sold $134 million in revenue bonds, which attracted orders totaling $2.9 billion, 22 times more than the available amount in bonds offered. The high demand from investors allowed GWA to further reduce the interest rate by 25 basis points from 4.2% to 4%. The bond sale is a great day for GWA in Guam. This just demonstrates GWA's continuing success story as a best-in-class utility. That from CCU Commissioner Joey Duenas. GWA General Manager Miguel Bordallo added that the success of this bond issuance during the prevailing market conditions in light of the COVID-19 pandemic is truly a testament to investor confidence in GWA's ability to deliver on its plans for system improvements for our ratepayers. This confidence would not be possible without the hard work of the men and women of GWA who provide demonstrated results of our improvement day in and day out. In national news, the White House is drafting an executive order that would make it easier for regulators to argue social media platforms are censoring free speech when they police users by deleting posts or accounts. This comes as President Trump has been engaged in a dispute with Twitter. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
Taking to Twitter, President Trump teased this will be a big day for social media and fairness as the White House works on an executive order targeting social media platforms that he accuses of being biased against conservatives.
The president is saying, please stop suppressing conservative voices and folks who feel like they don't necessarily are treated fairly there.
CBS News has confirmed the order aims to curtail legal protections that shield social media companies from lawsuits over what their users post. The president's dispute with Twitter escalated this week after it flagged one of his tweets for the first time for potentially misleading information about mail-in ballots.
Twitter cannot suppress voices and others can't suppress votes. That's part of our democracy.
The White House says it's prepared for legal challenges to the new action, which are likely to be coming its way. U.S. law protects social media companies from lawsuits based on Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. 2 Republican lawmakers tweeted that they are working on legislation to potentially change the law.
The Paycheck Protection Program.
Also on Capitol Hill, the House is expected to vote on a fix to the Paycheck Protection Program to give small businesses more time to use their federal funds. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Companies that received loans after the PPP program opened on April 3rd will see the 8-week loan forgiveness periods begin to expire at the end of this week and in early June. The House bill would extend that deadline from the original 8 weeks to 24 weeks. In your Banking 671 report, the Guam Bankers Association is encouraging residents who plan to file for pandemic unemployment assistance to consider opting for direct deposit. You're urged to take the following steps. First, you have to open a deposit account with your preferred bank, collect necessary account information, be prepared to provide your account number and your bank's routing number, and visit Guam DOL's online portal, hireguam.com, to apply for assistance once they actually begin to accept applications. And that is your Banking 671 report brought to you by the Bank of Guam and Coast 360.
Thank you very much, Serena Saz-Mantanani, 638. Let's go over to the phones where we have on the line from the Department of Public Health. She's the Division of Environmental Health Food Safety Manager, Catherine Del Mundo. Good morning, Catherine.
Hi, good morning, Chris.
Are you there? I can't hear.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, good.
Hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Good morning.
Okay, so
Good morning.
we wanted to bring you on because we're opening dine-in restaurants in about an hour and a half. So just kind of wanted to let people know what the experience is going to be like when they go in. I mean, also so they can kind of, since we're tasked with, in a way, policing a lot of these businesses that are open as the eyes and the ears of the island. I kind of want to let people know what to expect when they go to dine in today. So, good morning.
Good morning. So, so basically the department released out a memo, 2020-09, and it provides the minimum requirements for dine-in operations for restaurant facilities, which is effective today. The memo provides additional measures in terms of general requirements, such as operating at no more than 50% of occupancy, and this includes staff and customers, guidance for employee health, cleaning and disinfecting, ventilation, social distancing, and other protective measures, such as wearing face coverings. And this, of course, in order to protect, safely operate during this pandemic. Under this memo, salad bars, buffets, and any kind of self-service operation in restaurants are not allowed at this time. And these requirements actually supplement the Guam Food Code, or GFC. And GFC is the regulation that oversees food establishments such as restaurants. So basically, it's in addition to the Guam Food Code requirements, which in itself helps prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Right. So I saw in the there was a JIC advisory that came out that talked about the use of face masks, and I think it said something like you have to wear a face mask all the time unless you're dining in. So when we go into the restaurant, what's the protocol going to be once we're seated by our servers?
So according to the memo, customers should be wearing a face mask unless, of course, they're eating. And again, that helps prevent the spread of COVID-19. So my recommendation to food establishment is to have that communication with the customers that they're having come into their facility.
Catherine, I mean, so when you say wear the mask unless we're eating, so when we sit down at the table, let's say in a date setting or whatever, you're just going to eat with whoever, coworkers. When you sit down, do you remove the mask or do you wait for the food to come?
That can be something that is implemented by the restaurant. Now, of course, we understand that if you have a group of people that you're eating with, it should be, not everyone's going to have their face mask. But in addition to the face coverings, you also have social distancing. So that social distancing or instituting other protective barriers in place in the restaurant can help when it comes to that.
If we're coming from the same household, do you still have to social distance?
No. People of the same household does not need to conduct social distancing in the restaurant. It's only if you're coming from a different household, so different customers.
Right. So if a group of coworkers, not more than 25, go out to eat, then they would have to sit 6 feet apart.
There's actually another executive order that allows for congregation if you're not in the same household, but it can't be more than 10 people. Mm-hmm. So it's up to the establishment. They can, if they're allowing for congregation, as long as they don't go over 10 people, of people that's not in the same household.
And then buffets are not open, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's your salad bars, your buffets, and any type of self-service operation in a restaurant are not allowed at this time.
Well, what about like Yogurtland?
Yogurtland?
I mean, for example, you go in and you get your stuff and then you put your toppings on and...
Yeah, so that's not allowed. What the memo provides is that they can institute like cafeteria style of operation, where the food service employees themselves will be the one to get or provide the food rather than the customer itself. Then that limits different people touching those machines.
Right.
What about inspectors for the Division of Environmental Health? We all know that they have a shortage of inspectors. So has there been any move to hire inspectors? Because, people who are eating at restaurants, they can't really go to the back into the kitchen and see if, they're following regulations, if people are wearing gloves or masks or sanitizing the place.
Right.
Yeah. Well, our Division of Environmental Health, historically has always been underfunded. We've always had this challenge with staffing even before this pandemic happened. Right now we have 5 EPHO 1s and 1 EPHO 2. So EPHO, Environmental Public Health Officer 1 and 2, they're the ones primarily conducting inspections of health-regulated establishments for compliance. So whether it be sanitation inspections and pre-operational inspections, and they also investigate the complaints that we receive. We have 3 EPHO 3s, and those 3s manages specialized programs such as consumer commodities, food safety, controlled substance, and mosquito control and surveillance program. So they conduct compliance inspections and lead disease outbreak investigations when necessary. We also have 3 environmental technicians, and they primarily support the mosquito control and surveillance program. So in total, we have about 12 staff. And, that's really one of our biggest concern of DEH is that we don't have enough staff to oversee all of our mandates. So what we're doing right now, we actually submitted a proposed recruitment plan to our director to utilize the CARES Act funding to hopefully address the lack of staff. I believe this proposal is still being reviewed by our director, and in that proposal, we're requesting for a total of 16 employees for recruitment to assist with implementing COVID-19 related programs and activities. So that includes the inspections of your restaurants and other facilities that are currently open.
Right.
And is this just for a temporary basis, or you want them to be permanent employees because the COVID funding is going to, run out?
Yeah, I think for now it'll be temporary because it's for COVID related programs.
Right. Catherine, what about because I know people's health certificates expired, and there was I remember you guys were doing a staggered thing for the renewal. So are we going to have people working in these restaurants that are opening today with expired health certificates?
Yes. So actually with renewals, that's still held off. Right now we are addressing the new health certificates. So people that has never gotten a health certificate before, or they've gotten one years ago and are wanting to get back into working at a health regulated establishment. So those are the people that we're identifying as a priority right now because they're the one in most need of, for example, food safety training, right? So renewals for health certificates. So if health certificate has expired since this pandemic happened, they're still valid until further notice. So we just want to kind of stagger the amount of people coming into our division, because of social distancing and everything. So right now, if you have a health certificate and you need to renew it, it's valid until further notice.
So where are you guys with the health certificate issuances over in Derecho? What letter are you guys on now?
I don't have it with me right now.
Okay.
But there's a schedule, right? There's a
schedule. And if you want to know the schedule, you can call our number, and that's 300-9579. So you can call that to just kind of verify what the schedule is like.
Catherine, I know it is what it is with the expiring health certificates, but are we concerned at all about the liability or any potential exposure to customers, or is the thinking that, like you said, hey, these people have already got the food safety training, so they're good? But because part of when you renew the health certificate, right, is you go get the TB test or whatever.
So one of the requirements, and this is the current requirement even prior to this pandemic, is that all food establishments needs to have a manager with a manager certification. Actually, not having one will cause the suspension of the establishment's permit. And the reason being is because you need someone with a food safety background and knowledge to make sure the operation follows the requirements of the Guam Food Code, right? So now that we have an ongoing pandemic, having a manager knowledgeable in food safety and the Guam Food Code requirements is even more important. So the GFC itself is already stringent enough that it can reduce the likelihood of foodborne disease if followed correctly. So having a manager with a manager certification present during all hours of operation can greatly assist in minimizing not only foodborne disease, but also, COVID-19 related.
Right. How many expired health certificates are we talking about? Do you have any idea?
No, I don't have the number for that. I'm sorry.
When you go into the restaurant this morning at 8:00, are we going to see what we see at a lot of the grocery stores where they do the thermal scanner and all of that?
Actually, that's one of the requirements that's listed on the memo that we're discussing right now. That for employee health, they would need to conduct like a pre-work screening that's conducted by the person in charge, and that can include taking employees' temperatures.
What about for people coming in to eat?
Oh, that's something that can be instituted by the establishments themselves.
Okay, so it's up to them.
I know some retail stores are doing that, right? So that's something that restaurants can do as well.
Catherine, at any point, the servers, the masks don't ever come off, right?
Yes.
And then
so while they're working, they need to have a face covering. Now, if they're going to take a break, there has to be a designated location for them to take a break that's away from customers, away from, any food contact surfaces or food itself, and that's where they can, take off their mask, eat and drink a little bit. And then as soon as they go back to work, they would need to put their face mask on.
Are there any guidelines for packing your leftovers for Balutan?
What do you mean?
They got to do anything different when you get your food, your leftovers to go?
No. Okay. There's no difference in that. They'll just inform the establishment. It's the same as if the establishment were to serve the food their customer, the customers their food, right?
All right. So are you guys going to be out and about this morning, just kind of checking on things?
Right now, given with our limited staff, we've been prioritizing, other issues like our consumer commodities program.
Right.
So there's still, a lack of staff available to go out. We do have one that actively goes out, and we most likely will be taking a look and see how things are.
And what about testing food workers for COVID-19? That's not anywhere on the radar, right?
I'm not sure at this point. I don't handle that part. So I'm not sure I can comment on that one.
Okay.
I just wanted to follow up on what you said about this proposal that's before the director for the hiring of, employees for the Division of Environmental Health for the pandemic. So at this current point, we don't have enough, obviously, but are they going to step up inspections? Like, how often are they going to be going out and making sure that these restaurants are meeting health, food, and safety codes?
As with all priorities that we have, we will be trying our best to step up, but really it depends on the amount of priorities and other pending items that we're addressing right now.
What about gloves? Is that are those part of the guidelines for the staff?
No, gloves are not a part of the guideline. Actually, it's not apparent in terms of food safety. The only time that food establishment would need to wear gloves if they're handling food with their bare hands. So any ready-to-eat food that's not going to be undergoing any cooking or any further preparation, if employees need to handle it, they would need to either use gloves or other means so that they don't touch the food with their bare hands.
And then maybe the customer can hold the glass when they refill it just to avoid the touching?
Yeah, that's certainly something. Again, it really depends on, what the plans are for establishments. They should have kind of oversee their operation and take a look at what they can, implement. And at the same time, also having a good communication with not only the customers, but their employees. making sure that the employees are aware of this memo, what the requirements are, and, like just having that open communication.
The restaurants that are being allowed to open, did they have to have a specific rating to reopen? Because some have C ratings, some have, B ratings, A ratings.
As long as their permit was not pulled, they are able to reopen. Okay. Now, as far as for those establishments that have a C or B rating, we're still working with them and conducting the reinspection.
So those
I'm sorry.
Did you say that those aren't going to be opening?
No, they're still able to open as long as we did not pull or suspend their sanitary permit because they had a D rating or because of other factors. They can still operate. So even if they have a B or a C rating, they can still reopen this morning. They just need to work with us in conducting the reinspection.
And what's the timeline on that?
It depends on how how they correct their problems.
Right. So I feel like we're telling everybody that you guys are short-staffed. It's almost like when they talk about the prison, they're like, there's only so many guards and so we don't want to tip people off too much in the restaurant industry that you guys aren't going to be, the enforcement end is not going to be where, we need it to be. So with the public, like I said earlier, we're the eyes and the ears. What number or how does the public report to you guys? Anything questionable, anything concerning that they see?
All complaints that we receive, we do try to address it. And, the number that they can call is if they see something or if they have any questions. For example, they visited a restaurant and they're kind of questioning on their the social distancing, for example. They can call that number that I provided. Again, it's 300-9579.
300-9579.
Yes.
Okay.
So they can call that just for anything if they have questions about their health certificate or if they see something or they want to file a complaint, they can call that number.
Okay. Have you guys gotten, what's the complaint, or have there been complaints when the restaurants are just operating strictly with takeout? Or has it been the same, an increase, a decrease?
There actually has been a decrease from the, we try to keep logs of our complaints. There's actually been a decrease. And for those complaints that we did receive, we try to address them as soon as we can.
What type of complaints are people submitting?
Like things being found in their food, like plastic that was found in their food, or I think there was one complaint where they purchased a food and there was a little bit of mold on it.
Ouch.
A little bit. So just basically people finding stuff, and any roaches, anything juicy like rat droppings or...
I haven't come across a complaint so far regarding that.
What about the restrooms at these restaurants? Is there guidelines on ensuring that they have to be cleaned every so often?
Yeah. So the what do you call that? The memo actually addresses that. That they have to create a schedule for cleaning and disinfecting the restroom, and and it goes down to even saying to identify who, when, what, and how, and based on frequency of use. So again, that's something that the person in charge or the manager of the establishment would be tasked to do, is to create a cleaning and disinfection plan to make sure that areas such as restrooms or commonly touched surfaces are clean and disinfected at regular intervals, right?
All right. Well,
Okay.
well, thank you.
Yeah, wow, a lot of information there, Catherine. Can we make you a regular on our list of awesome public health callers?
Oh, then you're pulling me away from the job I need to do.
A good point.
Yeah.
This is part of it, public awareness, right?
That's true.
Anything in closing you want to say to the people out there? We're about an hour away from restaurants flipping the doors open.
No, just the common thing, practice what we've been telling people so far: social distancing. Make sure you wear your mask, wash your hands frequently, as often as necessary. And if you don't have soap or water available, use hand sanitizer. And, any concerns that you have, just give us a call at the number that I provided.
Thank you, Catherine.
All right. Thank you so much.
Have a good day and wash your hands, okay?
You too.
Okay. Bye. There you go. That's Catherine Del Mundo. She's the food safety manager. The Department
1, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented locally by Ambrose Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus, gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
With the new challenges we're all facing, First Hawaiian Bank wants to make sure you have access to your financial world. With FHB Online and our mobile app, we hope to make banking the least of your worries. Visit fhb.com/digital.
Be healthy. Be informed with IT&E.
Calling all graduating seniors. Join us by showing your class pride in the celebration caravan you deserve through the island's major thoroughfares. KUAM and its partners want to recognize your accomplishments and help celebrate this pivotal moment in your lives. To participate, email promotions@kuam.com and let's get this show on the road. Special thanks to ABC Stores Guam and The Dungeon. We hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a challenging time for all, but now, more than ever, our cancer patients and caregivers need us. Although we are apart, we stand united in the fight against cancer. The American Cancer Society Guam is excited to announce our first virtual Relay for Life. Join us on Saturday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV 8, as well as on I-94 FM and streaming on KUAM News digital platforms. Cancer does not stop, and neither can we. On June 27th, let's celebrate together and fight cancer. Visit relayforlife.org/GuamGU to find out how you can participate in the 2020 virtual.
It's not always easy trying something new. Sometimes you have to help your loved ones along. Nana is so used to her weekly trips to the bank that going online can be a little scary for her. But her grandson knows that banking online is safer and easier, so he's teaching her how to get started using Bank of Guam's online banking videos. Teaching is one way to show our loved ones we care, keep your family safe at home, and show them how to bank online. Find easy-to-use online banking tutorials at bankofguam.com or on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
Be healthy. Be informed with IT&E.
Friday, business. Dine-in Friday, double pay Friday. Double pay hearings all day. As we're 55 minutes away from dine-in opening. Thank you to Catherine Del Mundo. A lot of great info there. Basically, you go in, you wear your mask until it's time to eat. Servers, employees of the establishments wear the masks all the time. And what was that number again? 300? Huh? 9795. Yeah. Oh God. Oh God. It's 300-95.
We'll find the correct number.
You got to call the right number in public health because they got a bunch of numbers that are like boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
So I heard.
It's 300-9579.
Okay,
right.
thank you. Let's take on the phones. A lot of stuff happening in Dedido this morning. So, of course, we want to bring on the mayor of the village and the president of the Mayor's Council of Guam, Mayor Melissa Tavares. Good morning, Mayor.
Hi, good morning.
Wow, what a day for you.
What a day.
What a day. What a day.
Have things, are things still really crazy?
Well, you know, the traffic is moving.
Mm-hmm.
At 4, I was here with the team, the GDOE team, Public Works and Police and National Guard were out here before 4 o'clock. And I went out to see the line of cars, and they were way up to the Jigo amusement park area.
Whoa.
That's how far the line went up. But once the gate got opened before 6 o'clock, and they opened a few minutes before when everything was set, and they started letting cars in. The line is really moving. So the cars, the flow of traffic is moving quickly as soon. And of course, I want to thank National Guard, GPD, of course, Department of Public Works, and GDOE for all their efforts together here at the Farmers Co-op site. The cars are really going, so they're not really holding up. GPD and National Guard are making sure that the intersections are open for at the different areas all the way up through Jigo.
What are the people saying this morning, Mayor, the ones in the line?
Well, you know, of course, everybody was waiting patiently. You know, I didn't, because the line was on the main highway, Chris, I didn't get out to talk to anybody. But once the ones that were coming in, they said once the line started moving, it was easier. You know, it just kept flowing. Mm-hmm. So they're happy that they made it in.
And what are we giving out today?
Well, of course, the food commodities from the GDOE warehouse. These are the canned goods and the dry goods, and then the boxes of fruit.
Mayor,
what's being given.
So how many bags did you guys have? Is it always 2,000 a day?
There's 2,000 that were here prepared for this site, and I know that Tizen also has 2,000 up there.
Wow, that's good. Mm-hmm. And so where are we at? Have we run out already?
No,
or?
I still see pallets that are still full, and there's still some stuff in the containers that are being brought out.
Yeah, but the line's still
it's still
going.
Moving.
Right.
Yeah.
We just got a Facebook comment here. Even Tizen is open, less traffic. Yeah, when I came by, drove by Tizen, it was less traffic than Tuesday or Wednesday. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting calls too that says, you know, we want to send anybody up, but if people want to go up to Tizen, there's still a lot so space up there to line up.
Mayor, was there a lot of buzz leading up to this morning from your residents in the village about getting these commodities?
Well, you know, they asked where, and we just told them the calls that we were getting yesterday was, where do we line up? And we've made it very clear that they have to line up on the southbound lanes on Marine Corps Drive, and the entrance is the entrance across the Calvas Insurance on the southbound lane side.
Mm-hmm. What would you say the estimated value is of one of those boxes?
I would say that the fruit box is probably a $30 value.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bags of canned and dry commodities, it's about maybe, because it's a variety of things. You have dry goods, some beans, and then canned goods, maybe about another $50 $50 or $60 value of that. Yeah.
Any meat, Mayor?
No meats today, just the canned meat that are being distributed.
And this is per household, and this is I think they said it's going to be twice weekly, but beginning, they're going to take a break next week because they're going to add on a third site.
Yeah.
Yes.
But do you know if the site will remain there at the Dededo Farmers Market going forward?
Well,
once they
according to
reopen?
DPW, they said that this site, because the road is stretched out,
Mhm.
one, and you're not curving into areas, and it's easier to control, right, Jess? It's easier to control this one strip. They'll probably keep this as a site, as a distribution site, and recommend that this would be one of the sites that would be open, and then for at least for the north.
Mayor, how's the demand and how the line's been for the GDOE grab and go meals?
Those meals continue to happen at the school, and so we're actually assisting we're still assisting the Wettengel line, because that one is a really long line during the day, and you've seen that. But I've gotten calls like from Estumbo, Maria Ujoa last week, that they had leftover meals. So what they did is they asked us to pick it up. And Chris, Sabrina, whenever they ask us at the end of the meal period to pick up meals, we take these meals and take them to like apartment complexes. Sometimes it's Pacific Garden. We alternate them. Pacific Gardens will honk the horn, and the kids know if somebody's honking the horn, they look out their windows or their balcony, and then we just hand them the bags. Sometimes it's 40 bags that are left over from the school. Last week I had a call from Maria Ujoa, and I went to Nevermind Road, and I went all the way in because they don't have transportation to get to there. I went in. Sometimes it's Swamp and Hahasu. So depending on how many bags of food, we alternate where we're going to distribute it when we get it. And we take it to areas where they don't have transportation or they can't walk to the school to get it. So that's not daily. That's whenever there's leftovers. The schools will call us.
Right, because they're giving away thousands of meals, so I mean, they probably would have leftovers. Mayor, when you roll into these areas where they don't have transportation, and and they see, what's the reaction from the people?
Oh no, when they see our official, and sometimes my guys with the blue truck, they know that we have meals, and they just send the kids out to get them. And we ask how many kids in your house, and if there's 4, we give them 4 bags. And we just want to make sure that those meals are consumed.
Mayor, we spoke to you a few weeks back, and it was an emotional conversation where you talked about how people in the village were struggling. Now that we've had some of the stimulus and the Azuda program and Salapi, Banalas Dagu program and those checks roll out, what's your take on the condition in the village with the residents? Are we still seeing that struggle? Because I see it.
Chris, we still have families that, of course, now their food has been taken care of because they're taking advantage of the meals, the commodities. And we've also, there's several families that have partnered with 2 grocery stores in the village. We've given them the names of some families. A lot of them are both husband and wife, or even their children, if they have any that are work in the retail and hospitality industry. And so, of course, it's the, how are we going to pay our bills with what we have and then buy food at the same time? So, they're having to choose those things. And with the stimulus, some of them are waiting or some of them have received theirs. And what they said is they've caught up in their rent. They're buying their necessities, and then, but it's taken them enough to take care of their financial obligations as far as their loans are concerned. But anything else, they still have the need for. There's a few of them that still express that they still have need for the food.
Yeah, that's why I kind of had
the stimulus has helped with getting caught up.
Bills,
with their
correct?
Bills, right?
Yeah, and I mean.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of chuckled when there was a press conference, and I think it was the governor who said something like, we're getting these stimulus, and it's increasing the consumer buying power, and I just kind of thought in my head, like, man, if anyone's like me out there, that stimulus, it's going to bills because their bills have just piled up. And we said it a month ago, when that stimulus gets here, it's gone. And so that's what you're seeing.
Last week, a resident said to me, I still need the food because I was 2 months behind in my rent, So at least, and then they caught up with their utility bills, because there's, these things that, they're deferred payments, right? But of course, they don't want those interests to continue to grow. So they're making sure that their financial obligations are taken. Their rent and utilities is mainly the things that they're taking care of with those monies that are coming in.
Mayor, I know you guys are working hard on the mayor's verifications. That's, wow, as we get ready. Yeah.
I was there till 9 o'clock last night. So, we're there till late at night because all the calls that come in, Chris and Sabrina, we make sure that those verifications get out as late, even if we have to stay all night until those things. So, it's getting to Rev and Tax. Those that are applying for the pandemic unemployment program, those that are applying for the public assistance, as far as food stamp, SNAP, kind of thing. So, the disaster relief, the $300 disaster relief program. So all those verification requests, we have people who will have appointments with Salvation Army and Catholic Social Services for food commodities as well. We're getting all those verifications out by the end of the day, and even if the day is ending at 9 o'clock. They get emailed, electronically sent to the different agencies that are needed.
The Department of Labor, they said by the end of this week they're going to hopefully get online the online application for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. And are you guys assisting in any way in terms of setting up a computer for people?
Yeah. So what I told them is, because my office is small, and the 4 computers that I have in there are already with people using those to prepare the verifications. So my recommendation is, I have a library next door. I asked them to get a hold of the library and see if they can use the computers that are in there. And at least for that purpose, open the library from a certain time. If not, if they have the ability to have a laptop that can come in, I don't have the extra means, but people can set up one laptop station in one of my Estumbo or the Dedido Senior Center, and either or, and I can give them a space for that. So we looked at different options for Dedido. It definitely can't be our office. Like I said, our office is very small, but we can accommodate if we can work with our partners around us, either the Dedido library when it's not being used at this time, and I'm sure they have computers in there, or set up a workstation if they have a laptop, an extra computer, the Department of Labor, or somebody can let residents use. I can set up a station in my Dedido Senior Center as well as in my Estumbo Senior Center. So, we have options.
What about also today, I believe, is the testing at the old fire department, right?
The old fire station, yes. This is where the Dedido Municipal Building, so right next to the skate park. Yeah. And so we'll be setting up there as well with Department of Public Health, and we're ready for that.
Okay. And what's the estimated number of unsheltered homeless?
I did ask Public Health how many they've gotten in the different places that they went to, and they roughly about 30 to 35 people would actually come in. But, I'm going to make contact with Guma San Jose, because that is a shelter, see if they want to send any residents over to take advantage of this. And we have people who are squatting in different areas. We've actually spoken, we kind of went out yesterday and kind of talked to them. But, we can't force everybody to come over. It's, this is available. Please come and take advantage of it.
And so you guys also have a meeting scheduled. Is it next week?
Next week, Wednesday.
A lot of things to be discussed. It's going to be the first time that
we've gotten together since March.
Wow.
And so, we're doing it at the Dedido Senior Citizen Center because I don't have my seniors there. We do have operations for feeding for our seniors that are senior participants. So, they come, we deliver meals to them. But so we're going to use the room is big enough where I can have separate people, and we'll have the distance between us to actually have a meeting rather than Zoom meeting or just having phone conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We can actually talk mayor's council business.
Why not have it over Zoom? I'm just curious.
There's some things, sometimes you get dropped. Not all the mayor. I mean, we all have Zoom access, whether it be through our phones or through our computers at our offices. However,
I know
Mayor Huffman and I and Angel actually felt that we really need to group.
Right. And then I'm sure some of the
I
mayors...
miss them.
You miss them, and then some of them don't know how to do the Zoom, because I remember when the public health came out with the dashboard. I forget if it was the mayor Aston or somebody's like, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I actually miss my colleagues, I mean, we're all busy, but, I really want to see people. I'm not going to hug them, but I just want to see that they're okay, right?
Mayor, how are your land trust people in your village? Have you been checking up on them?
Well, like I said, I've been going with the extra meals from the schools. I actually drive to Nevermind Road and Swamp Road on occasions. And, we see everybody's still there. I do have concerns that I kind of want to discuss with Mr. Hattick and Chamorro Land Trust, because, we continue to have, we've had the cleanup during dengue, and the things that we removed have grown back.
The abandoned cars grew back?
Yes,
and the dumping grew back.
They grew back. So, that's what we're farming up here. So, I want to address those things, and we're still waiting for the MOA and the funding to be transferred from Guam EPA so that we can take care of these illegal stuff that are being thrown.
I think he was working the quarantine, right?
Not quite. Yeah, I think so. I haven't seen them. I missed.
Is he running for senator, Mayor?
I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen anybody but people out here.
Right. Okay.
Well, I gotta say, this the whole pandemic crisis has really shown how hard all of you mayors have been working, and how truly you guys are on the front line. No matter if there's been this lack of transparency from the front office, you guys it didn't stop you. You guys just go and do what you got to do to help the people. So I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about all the different public hearings today, and that's no matter what, whether it's double, 10%, 20%, that never mattered to us. What mattered to us, especially because our seniors have to stay home, our seniors that we see every day when they come to our senior centers, those are the people that we were concerned about, because they were the most vulnerable. And some of them don't have families that are here to check on them. My staff go to pick up medication, refills for them. So we want to make sure that our people are okay. And of course, we get the calls every day. We know who's hungry, we know who's cut because they're applying for something. So when we get a pallet of eggs from someone, when they call in for a verification, we ask, do you want a tray of eggs? And we don't keep anything for ourselves. Everything goes back to the people that are calling and saying, I need help, So, like I told my staff, we're government employees. We continue to get paid our 80 hours. We shouldn't be taking these things that are being given. And we do give it back to our people.
Mayor, did you guys get any of the CARES Act funding?
Which funding?
Does that get down to you guys, or just Adelupe's got it all?
No, you know what, Chris? We don't know what funding we're getting. We continue to work. We're not looking up. Like I said, did you guys get I signed timesheets for my staff, and that's, but extra stuff. We just continue to do what we need. We're not looking back at, well, I didn't get this and they got it. Mayors don't look at those things, Chris and Sabrina. We're looking at making sure our manuncas are taken care of, making sure that, if we need to clear the basketball court because the kids are not social distancing,
right.
Some mayors have removed the rim. I said, if I'm afraid to remove the rim because it might fall apart and, then I'd have to buy a new one, and I don't have the money for that.
Yeah, Mayor, we saw comments here. People were complaining about basketball at Santa Barbara.
Yeah. I put nets up, Chris and Sabrina. I put nets up. I zip-tied the nets. These are the orange nets. But then, they rip it off. I'm not going to I have people to take care of in other areas, so I can't sit there with a BB gun and shoot them with, and say shoo shoo.
Well, if they play defense like me, they should be fine 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
What about, I wanted to ask, because we've got this special election this weekend over in Jotnia, but how have, who's been taking care of the Jotnia residents during this whole pandemic?
Well, the staff is there. Renee, Rose and her team. Rose is there running the office. And
But, in terms of like the paperwork that had to be signed, because I know Angel was he was the one tasked to sign.
Angel still signs their timesheet, any budgetary documents that need to get done. Angel is still detailed to do that. Their senior centers is now, the repairs are done there. So if the center was open, they would have been back there, but they're delivering their meals to their seniors. We have staff that from adult daycare that go there to help them with those deliveries. So, they continue to take care of their people the way we are taking care of our people.
Okay, just
and so,
without a mayor.
our staff, we are nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So our staff really do, as limited as we are with our staff, I mean, we have 14, 15 people on staff here in Detroit. As limited as we are, we still continue. And the same with Jotnia.
Right.
Their staff, without their office staff doing their verifications, handling, they're still cleaning the village. Thank God for all those people running, because they help clean the village too, right?
Make them work, right?
Right. So, but it's a team effort. We don't do this by ourselves. I can't. This operation today is DOE's operation. We're here just to support it,
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
It is DOE's operation.
I thought it was
It's a DOE
Adelup.
operation. Yeah, no. It's a DOE operation. Thank God for the bus operation that they came and helped bag in PD. They're out here to help in Teason and here in Dedito, helping to distribute, because it was just DOE staff to distribute. They can't take the names and then distribute at the same time.
Right.
So it's, I just opened the gate and make sure that the bathrooms were clean for the workers that need to use the restrooms, and that there's soap in there so they can wash their hands for 20 seconds, So it's a total team effort. Public Works put out the cones, and made sure GPD and National Guard are making sure that they're not blocking our intersections so that our people in Dedito can go to work.
Yeah.
So it's a complete team effort. Mayors can't do these things by themselves. We rely on the partners. And whether it be a nonprofit organization that's a partner, or a government entity, or a private business, we are partners in this community.
Amen.
Well, it's just good to hear that even without a mayor in Jotnia, that the community's coming together to help.
And the candidates.
Yeah, and the candidates.
Yeah. Mayor, have you had
of which you'll have it. One of them will be at that meeting next week.
Have you heard from Mayor Blas? Have you had any discussion with former Mayor Blas at any time during this COVID or before?
I'm not part of his visitation list, so no, I haven't.
Which of the mayors is on his visitation? Or is
I don't
Angel?
think any of us are. I don't think any of us are.
Okay. So you haven't, because he almost got released.
Almost.
Almost.
Not quite. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing with it. It was a close one. We were just thinking that would just be kind of weird to release the former mayor on the weekend of the special election. I just thought it wasn't a good look. So.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you wanted to get out, Mayor?
What's going on this weekend in your village?
Well, of course, we have our flea market, our come and get your fresh produce. Now we have plants so that you can grow your own produce kind of thing. So, we want everybody to just be safe. Remember to keep your mask on, practice social distancing, and continue to pray that our island comes back together soon, gets back to normal. Because this is a new norm. New face mask, get different patterns so you can look different every day, kind of thing. And
spice it up, right, Mayor?
And patience. Please have patience with each other.
Yes.
Because, we're not rushing it through anything. We just came out of being isolated and quarantined in our own places.
What about dine-in restaurants opening in your village, Mayor? Anybody talking about that? Are you going to go dine in today?
Yes. I actually got a call from the Micronesia Mall team the other day saying, what about the food court? I said, well, I should start having stickers that say don't sit here or sit here. Right. You need to start, and that's not my call. It's Department of Public Health or the business call, not ours. So, I still like to take out because then it eliminates a lot of people hanging out and congregating.
Right. And then also, I mean, for those of us who are working, I mean, it's become habit to just get that takeout and sit there and work while you eat. Like I've been doing that for 3 months.
Yeah, we eat at our sometimes when we remember to, we eat at our desk too. So it's not right, but you know what? We don't have very much time.
Multitasking.
It is what it is.
It is what it is,
That's
Mayor.
right. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Always great to get you on here, Mayor, as the president of the council, and of course, as the mayor of the most populous village.
Okay.
Stay safe.
Wash your hands, Kay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I will.
Okay, it's set. Right on. Deputy Mayor Melissa Savares. We're going to keep it with the mayors this morning. Get a couple more on, but first we're going to take a break at 7:31. It's the KUAM News Takeover of Guam's favorite. Good morning, Betnet.
Full price.
Keeping you informed, KUAM News brings you Banking 671, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented locally by Ambrose Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
With the new challenges we're all facing, First Hawaiian Bank wants to make sure you have access to your financial world. With FHB Online and our mobile app, we hope to make banking the least of your worries. Visit fhb.com/digital.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD.
Calling all graduating seniors. Join us by showing your class pride in the celebration caravan you deserve through the island's major thoroughfares. KUAM and its partners want to recognize your accomplishments and help celebrate this pivotal moment in your lives. To participate, email promotions@kuam.com and let's get this show on the road. Special thanks to ABC Stores Guam and The Dungeon.
It's not always easy trying something new. Sometimes you have to help your loved ones along. Nana is so used to her weekly trips to the bank that going online can be a little scary for her. But her grandson knows that banking online is safer and easier. So he's teaching her how to get started using Bank of Guam's online banking videos. Teaching is one way to show our loved ones we care. Keep your family safe at home and show them how to bank online. Find easy-to-use online banking tutorials at bankofguam.com or on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
We hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a challenging time for all, but now, more than ever, our cancer patients and caregivers need us. Although we are apart, we stand united in the fight against cancer. The American Cancer Society Guam is excited to announce our first virtual Relay for Life. Join us on Saturday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV 8, as well as on I-94 FM and streaming on KUAM News digital platforms. Cancer does not stop, and neither can we. On June 27th, let's celebrate together and fight cancer. Visit relayforlife.org/GuamGU to find out how you can participate in the 2020 virtual Relay for Life Guam.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD.
go, no. When I'm laying in the sun on the beach, I know my phone, you say you just can't read. That doesn't mean that you're not on my mind.
Man.
All the time, baby.
Taking me back here.
When I'm surfing up on the North Shore, know it's you that I'm longing for.
I wonder how these two young ladies are doing. Serena and Paige, My Love from classic Live Local Fridays, caught man way back. And while we're talking about Live Local Fridays, we've got a Stay Home Live Local Fridays for you tonight. It's going to be a good one. I know we got Kiko and Kaylee. A bunch of great performances. Again, that's 6:30 on our KUAM News Facebook. That's live. They also stream it here on I-94.
And airing on KUAM TV8.
And thank you so much to all the local artists who have, man, we've done this about, I want to say it's been about 4 or 5 weeks.
Since the start, actually.
Right.
I think maybe like second weekend, or maybe even the first.
It's been a minute, let's just say that. We've had some great shows, great artists, you know, and this is their time to shine. It's what you call a captive audience. So thank you so much to all of our Stay Home Live Local Fridays performers. 7:38.
And they're from all over the place.
Right.
I think we had Matt LaGuardia, right?
Yeah.
All the way performing in Afghanistan.
Yeah. We even had Meta, former JFK teacher, performing from Colorado.
Heather Manley, all the way from New York City.
Right, and then I think Courtesy Vibes Fest, we also got some pretty cool reggae artists to do some tracks. Of course, Baba B threw out a great one. So it's going to be an awesome show tonight, and there's just so many ways to catch it on the social media networks of KUAM, and of course here on the radio and on KUAM TV. 7:39, like I said, let's stick with the mayors from Dedido. What do you say? Let's take a stroll down south, guys. You want to go down south?
Yes.
Let's go to Santa Rita and check out one of my favorite mayors, Mayor Dale Alvarez. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
How are things in Santa Rita?
Okay, so far so good. They're all behaved.
But sometimes they're bad?
No, I mean they're
I'm just
staying
kidding.
home, and so far I haven't heard anything positive.
You haven't heard anything positive?
Yeah, I mean, them going out shopping or what, in our chat, they're all staying home, which is good.
Yeah, and I kind of think that's how it is in the South. There's a lot of people are just, I don't know if they just got used to staying home. Well, they're just staying home, right? How about you, Mayor?
I mean, they're bored. I know that for sure, but but I guess they're worried too. They might get the virus.
Right. So what about dine-in restaurants reopening? I know you have a couple in Santa Rita, or do you have a restaurant there?
Yes, we have a couple of them down here at we have Homai and at Chinese restaurant.
Right, and so those are going to be opening for dine-in. Do you think a lot of your residents are going to go dine-in, or they playing it safe?
Well, I rather they stay home and play it safe, until we're really sure we're clear. But I guess everybody wants to go to a restaurant too, tired of the home cooking.
Right. What's been on your mind, Mayor Dale? What's been going on there in Santa Rita that's been taking up your time as mayor?
Oh, nothing. Just that we got a lot of complaints. Like when it rains, it floods, and I'm getting a lot of calls now about the grass cutting, and we're out there too busy cutting the grass now and cleaning up.
Are you going to be going to the mayor's council meeting next week? And if so, what will be the one thing you want to discuss?
Oh, about my, of course, the white goods and the abandoned vehicles, because they just keep accumulating. And I'm really worried because I got 3 now that are just parked on the side of the road, on claim, so that police came and picked up the license plate. But that's my most concern now, the recycle.
Yeah, Mayor Savares said that abandoned vehicles are growing again in Dedido. Is that the same thing in Santa Rita?
Oh, very much. And I don't know. It seems like I said, just three this last week. They seem to park it and abandon. I mean, then they come and start taking tires and parts off. It's an eyesore.
And I think that's one of the items on the agenda. Is it the recycling revolving fund?
Yes.
It is, okay. And if you could explain that fund, is it Guam EPA that administers that fund?
Yes, ma'am.
It is, okay. And do you know if they're going to be at that meeting or participating in the meeting at the Mayor's Council?
Oh, I don't know if they'll be there, but we usually just discuss it, and then they are informed about what we discuss and how can we get the money and all this.
Have you guys been receiving allotments from that fund?
Yeah, we did. But it's already all gone, so we're just waiting for the new one now.
Mm-hmm. How often do you guys get a portion of that?
Oh, I don't know, like every 6 months, I guess, or every year. Get it once or twice a year.
Oh.
What about the white goods, Mayor? You mentioned the white goods. What's the status on that?
Yeah, they're all the same. That the white goods too, and the metals and the abandoned vehicles, they're all in the same funds. But we just go with one first and then to the other, providing our funds still. But I think they're all separated. Abandoned vehicles separated and all that. We just get enough money to take care of the abandoned vehicles, and they give us money for the white goods and then the metals, the tires, so forth.
Mayor, I heard that they're going to be opening another distribution site in the south for the food commodities. Have your residents have they been getting the grab and go meals and the commodities, Mayor? What are you hearing from your residents as far as the struggle is? Is it real in Santa Rita?
No, quite honestly, nobody has been calling to complain about it or ask about it. So I really don't know if we're getting it or what, but it seems like we're all okay down here.
But have you heard whether or not that third distribution site is going to be in Santa Rita or where down south?
What I'm hearing is it's going to go back to GSA.
PD, okay.
In PD, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about your roads, Mayor? I know that before the COVID, I did a story with you, and we're talking about the roads. I heard the governor in the press conference the other day say that construction never stopped all over the island. It was declared an essential activity. So what's the status with the roads down in your area?
I was told that they were going to do 3 roads that are on top of the list before the COVID, but it hasn't been done. They just came and do cosmetics for now, and I guess until the COVID ends. But we're doing one of the erosion now, and which is the last 2 weeks they've been doing that, which is a very good news for me because we've been waiting for years.
Mayor, today we've got several public hearings that are going on at the legislature today for double pay for essential GovGuam workers that work during this pandemic. And there was a letter sent in by the Mayor's Council of Guam to hopefully include employees of the mayor's offices to receive that double pay. Are you planning on submitting any testimony, or what is your position on it?
Well, I wish they get it, but yes, I'm for the double pay, and I hope they include my staff if they're going to give it out, because my staff definitely earn it. We haven't missed a day since the virus started, COVID-19 started. But yes, but if it's going to cripple the government and everything, I don't know. But I am for them to get their double pay.
Right, Mayor. So you said the staff, you guys haven't missed a day. Just tell us. Let's pretend we're in a hearing. How would you justify it? What has your staff been doing during the COVID? What type of tasks? What type of work have they been doing every day?
Well, I've been letting them go out and do the regular, cleaning the village and things like that. And every day they go out and distribute the foods for the seniors, our Manamku. That's every day lunchtime. they come back and they go back to their regular routine work. And of course, we're following everything, masks, gloves, and all.
Sounds like Santa Rita's been doing pretty okay during the COVID, Mayor. Did you hear anything about any of your residents testing positive?
Yeah, when it started, we just had one, and she's recovered already. So we're doing good. We're doing very good. And like I said, my constituents here are very mindful. They follow the orders, to stay home, and it really feels like it's deserted down here in Santa Rita in the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Mayor, before the COVID, I know that at one of the meetings you guys were talking about the stray dogs, right? And Department of Ag's supposed to come up with a program. You got stray dog problem in Santa Rita, or?
Yes, I do. Big time on stray pigs. But so far we've been catching the pigs and we're eliminating the herds.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of pigs, there's the pig derby is actually this weekend. Is both Saturday and Sunday? I think.
Yeah. Are you going to go hunt pig, Mayor?
No, but I did make it. I mean, put an input when they first started that pigs. They're sending the hunters out to the jungles and everything, but the pigs are in the village.
Mm.
So of course they had Santa Rita as one of the place to hunt because of my problems, but they went out there and I think they only caught one. And as they're going home or I'm driving around after the hunting, I see a lot of pigs in my village.
Mm-hmm.
So the pigs are in the village. I don't know if they can put the hunting out. I mean, send them out to the village and let my residents stay home.
We need to have a purge. I think we need to have a pig purge in the village. Like everyone, go in the house, lock your doors. If you hear gunshots,
at least for 2 or 3 hours.
Hey, we're not advising that.
Yeah,
okay?
but you have a really good point, Mayor. The pigs have overrun. And they do go in the village because that's where the food is, and that's where.
I've seen them on my way to work.
Oh, it's crazy. It's mainstream already.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and like I said, I'm driving down the road in Santa Rita. The herds are crossing the street, and as if they're tame. They don't run away from us. They just
look, what's up?
They're like, hey, pedestrians have the right of way here.
Right, but we are. USDA is doing good, helping us get rid of, we are getting a lot of pigs out already.
The traps, you're getting the traps, right?
Yes, my traps are working now, and we got this big heavy-duty trap that once they get in, they can't get out.
Hey, Mayor, so we're doing this pig hunting derby, right? And then they're going to give the meat, to people who need it. What do you think of that? Would you just eat a pig that you just shot crossing the street or whatever and just eat it right away? Or you think that's...
I wouldn't, especially if they have they got those sores like mange. And, I don't know. I wouldn't advise them to eat it. But I guess they're clean because all they eat is weeds and everything. But what gets them those mange? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But, the pigs that we catch here, people are taking them, but I guess they're cleaning them up for a month or so, then they'll butcher them.
Right, and that's the thing is you poke side a little bit and feed it whatever, right?
Right, yeah, but if dead right there, dead on the spot, I don't know. I don't advise that.
That's when you just fry it, deep fry, Mayor.
Yes, or leave it in a barbecue until it burns, then that's when you scrape out the...
So you're expecting people to be hunting in Santa Rita this weekend, then, Mayor? Are there designated spots for them to go to, or?
No, I don't think they're having Santa Rita because, like I said, the first time they have it, we didn't do too good. The one that was caught the most was in Talafofo.
Right. Yeah.
But down here in Santa Rita, the pigs are already educated, so I don't think they want to hunt down here.
Oh, they got a degree?
Yes. they know when to hunt.
They got. Pig HD.
Yes.
All right, Mayor. What else you got to say to your residents out there? Any message you have for the people of Santa Rita?
Yes, I'd just like them to still be careful out there, stay safe. We're not out of the dark yet. We want everybody to be safe, and until we know for a fact that everything is clear, then we should go out.
All right.
Right, Mayor, election year, and I saw you got someone annoying running against you. So is that changing up your strategy, or you're just going to keep doing Mayor Dale?
I'm just doing Mayor Dale, just doing my job, and I'm getting a lot of good, comments from my constituents. So that's good if they run. That's fine with me. Yeah, but I'm just doing the same thing, nothing different.
Okay, Mayor.
All right. Stay safe, Mayor.
Thank you, and you too.
And
Okay.
wash your hands and let us know if you have mango or avocado, because
Plenty mango, Chris. We're shoveling mangoes out of the road now because
Well, you know, if anybody wants to drop some off, that would be greatly appreciated.
shovel it up here to Harmon.
Harmon?
At KUAM, now we're at KUAM.
Okay. All right then.
Thank you,
All
Mayor.
right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Got
Okay.
it. Wash your hands.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yep, that's why the people in the south are staying home, because they're plenty golay. We got mango, we got avocado, we got wild pig, we got deer, we got manyaha.
You know, on a serious note, though, that the Pig Derby is this weekend. And I know I asked this question when we had Chelsea on. So they put out an advisory that hikers, please do not hike in the jungles or trails this weekend to avoid any potential dangerous encounters. Again, the Pig Derby is this weekend. It is on the 30th and the 31st. It is a free COVID-19 pig hunting derby. Residents who'd like to receive a pig, please contact your mayor. According to this advisory, please understand that accepting the meat is completely voluntary and at the consumer's risk. Wild pigs have viruses, bacteria, and or parasites that will cause illness if not properly handled. Waivers of liability must be signed prior to accepting the meat. GovGuam and our partners in the 2020 Pig Hunting Derby will not assume liability for any negative reactions that may occur. Safe handling guidelines will be provided to all hunters and residents who choose to accept meat. All meat will be refrigerated prior to distribution.
Wow, it's quite a disclaimer there.
Yeah, want to make sure we get that out. Just you know.
I don't know, Bree. What do you think of what Mayor Dale said? He's like, I ain't gonna eat it. I mean,
What do you
people
mean?
out there will eat it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But there is a process usually when you would. But anyway, so.
Would you eat it?
I mean, I'll eat anything. Look at me. Look at me. Hey, just put it in the fire. It's good. That kills the cooties.
There you go.
7:55. So we're taking a little break, and we're coming up on the top of the hour. So we'll throw on KUAM on TV 11. Again, it's the KUAM News Takeover, Guam's favorite, containing COVID. Good morning.
Keeping you informed, KUAM News brings you Banking 671, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented locally by Ambrose Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus, gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
With the new challenges we're all facing, First Hawaiian Bank wants to make sure you have access to your financial world. With FHB Online and our mobile app, we hope to make banking the least of your worries. Visit fhb.com/digital.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD.
Calling all graduating seniors. Join us by showing your class pride in the celebration caravan you deserve through the island's major thoroughfares. KUAM and its partners want to recognize your accomplishments and help celebrate this pivotal moment in your lives. To participate, email promotions@kuam.com and let's get this show on the road. Special thanks to ABC Stores Guam and The Dungeon. We hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a challenging time for all, but now, more than ever, our cancer patients and caregivers need us. Although we are apart, we stand united in the fight against cancer. The American Cancer Society Guam is excited to announce our first virtual Relay for Life. Join us on Saturday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV 8, as well as on I-94 FM and streaming on KUAM News digital platforms. Cancer does not stop, and neither can we. On June 27th, let's celebrate together and fight cancer. Visit relayforlife.org/GuamGU to find out how you can participate in the 2020 virtual Relay for Life Guam.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD.
Panogita moru purita nonda kantai mantunat nyagi toru ilugar para ion ra para I gloria abiba isla sen para honra, para y gloria, abiba isla sen para. Gitodu y tempo y paz para ita, dan gini langit na bendición. Contra y peligro na sa fuham Deus protegis langwang contra peligro na fan sa fuham Deus protegis langwang.
Good morning. Yep, a little bit of Elway for all my Olays out there. 8:03. And we got a great Stay Home Live Local Fridays coming up for you guys. 6:30 on our KUAM News social media networks and right here on I-94 and KUAM TV 8. Hey, we're KUAM FM Agatna, Guam. It's Guam's favorite, I-94. Welcome to the KUAM News Takeover. It's containing COVID at 8:04. Proudly brought to you by Cavo's Enterprises, Ambrose Inc., Coast 360, the Bank of Guam, and IT&E. There's so many ways to catch the show, of course, right here on the radio. We have an audio stream, Docomo Channel 10. It's streaming on the KUAM News app and at KUAM.com. And last but not least, on the Edward R. Murrow award-winning, totally legitimate social media networks at KUAM News on our Facebook Live feed. Good morning.
Good morning. You know, every time you say that, I just hear that song in my head. It just keeps playing and playing.
Which one?
MC Hammer.
Too legit to quit. Yep, still here.
You need to play that every time. You
Okay,
know, just
I'll work on that.
press the button.
So again, 8:05. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's get right to it as we do in the 8 o'clock hour. A dive into the day's COVID-19 headlines from the KUAM News team. Good morning, Sabrina Salas-Mantanani.
Off at 8. Good morning, everyone. We start with the numbers from the Joint Information Center. Public Health's lab ran 62 samples yesterday, and 1 turned up positive, bringing the number of COVID cases on Guam to 172, 5 deaths, and 143 recoveries. Governor Lulian Guerrero has officially extended her public health emergency declaration for Guam another 30 days following the signing of an Executive Order 2020-16 on Thursday. The declaration, which was scheduled to expire on the 30th, will now remain in effect until June 30th. Effective right now as we speak, dine-in service at local restaurants reopen but on a limited occupancy. Salad bars, buffets, and self-service operation of any kind are prohibited. Social gatherings or congregations will also now be limited to no more than 25 people, regardless of whether the individuals are of a single household unit. Additionally, effective next Monday, June 1st, all GovGuam offices, agencies, and departments will reopen to the public, but some employees will be allowed to telework. Also effective June 1st, Category 3 of the COVID-19 Response Differential Pay Plan expires. All public and private schools on Guam serving pre-kinder through 12 students remain closed for educational purposes. GDOE will be sending out further guidance regarding operating status to schools and central office employees. The latest executive order also appears to keep mandatory quarantine protocols in place. A passenger arriving into Guam that does not have a public health recognized and certified negative test result within a week prior to entry will be subject to quarantine. Previously, the test result had to be done within 72 hours prior to arrival. An update on the Guam Department of Education's emergency food distribution program. 2 sites open today, and they'll be open until 10 a.m. They are at the Tidzin Upper Baseball Field and Dededo Farmers Market. There are only 2,000 food boxes at each site and are being distributed on a first-come, first-served basis. We should note, though, that next week, GDOE will temporarily suspend food distribution to replenish supplies, secure needed equipment, and resolve logistical challenges in order to support the program's expansion to a third southern distribution site. The 3 sites are expected to take place every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the month of June, beginning on Tuesday, June 9th. Those sites will be announced at a later date. Additionally, we just got this in. There are over 1,000 food commodities bags still available at the Tidzin Baseball Field distribution site. There is little to no line at the moment. Distribution will end at 10 a.m. and when food commodities run out. And that is from the Governor's Communications Secretary Crystal Paco San Agustin. Public Health in the meantime, GORA and the Guam Housing Coalition's 2020 Passport to Services continues today at the Old Dededo Fire Station on Iglesia Circle. Homeless individuals are being tested for COVID-19 and will be provided a catered meal afterward. The testing is from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. The Office of Public Accountability is launching a government-wide performance audit of all employee compensation related to the COVID-19 emergency declaration. It's actually one of 3 audits the OPA is conducting. The other 2 focus on CARES Act expenditures and quarantine facility spending. Nestor Lecanto reports.
The OPA has sent engagement letters to every government agency, including the autonomous ones, seeking specific information related to the emergency compensation. Audit Supervisor Vincent Duenas.
One, of course, is the legal statute that governs their compensation for state of emergencies, natural disasters and such. The other thing was we wanted to find out if there were any internal memoranda from management relating to the compensation of employees during a state of emergency.
They're also asking for correspondence with the legal counsel and federal agencies, and most importantly, he says, they want the actual payroll data for each of the employees, and they want it by June 5th. Duenas explains what triggered what are now multiple audits that are underway.
Of course, the public outcry on the whole issue dealing with the compensation and the inequity of those that were getting compensated, the issue of the double pay versus the differential pay, that raised our concern. There are 3 separate teams that the public auditor has designated to address this, and so one is the hotel quarantine facilities, one is the compensation issues, and then the third one is the CARES Act budget proposal that was submitted by the administration. Those are the 3 audits that we are working on currently, directly related to the COVID response.
Duenas says they expect to be able to release the results by the end of the fiscal year, September 30th, if not sooner.
The controversial issue of double pay goes before the Superior Court this afternoon. The Office of the Attorney General opposes Guam Police Department Officer Steve Tapasnia's petition for a writ requesting the court to order the government to pay double pay to frontliners for hours worked during the pandemic. According to court documents, Deputy Attorney General James Canto argues a writ is a drastic remedy, and Tapasnia has failed to meet the legal requirements, asking the court to set a briefing schedule and trial prior to making any decisions. Further, Attorney Canto states in court documents the decision of whether to grant pay or leave credits is a matter of discretion, and on the face of the petition, mandamus is inappropriate. Representing Tapasnia, Attorney Tom Fisher tells KUAM he plans to file a reply prior to today's hearing and says, I find it interesting that the government doesn't even mention the law requires employees to be placed on paid leave under Rule 8.406A. Arguments are expected to be heard at 2 p.m. in Judge Anita Sicola's courtroom. Meanwhile, the topic of double pay will be discussed all day today as multiple bills that have been introduced to address the issue will have public hearings. 3 separate measures were introduced by Speaker Tina Muñoz-Barnes, Vice Speaker Talina Nelson, and Senator Joe S. San Agustin. The Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, in the meantime, issued a position on the issue last night, expressing their opposition of the passage of all the bills. The letter signed by the organization's president, Holly Rustic, states, the proposed double-time pay bills may make government employees happy temporarily. However, you must also consider that paying government employees double time for hours worked during the pandemic, when many private sector employees lost their jobs or had to report to work with no possibility of seeing extra money in their paychecks, will serve to make government employees the subject of community disdain and mistrust. Again, that is from the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce issuing a position against these bills. And we should also note that one of the founding members of the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce is Governor Lulian Guerrero. Former Jonya Mayor Jesse Bloss will remain behind bars. Chief Judge Francis Tadenko Gatewood denied Bloss's motion for temporary release for a second time. Bloss was arrested in September of last year on extortion charges for authorizing drug trafficking through Jonya cluster boxes. He then entered a plea agreement. Bloss faces a maximum of 20 years in prison, with his sentencing hearing set for August. Earlier this week, the court held a status conference addressing the defense's concerns that alleged insufficient medical treatment and inadequate attorney-client access. The court finds the basis for temporary release is matters for a civil action which is not authorized by under the court statute. Court documents state the court is sympathetic to the defendant's belief that he would have access to better health care on release than he has access to while detained. Well, this may be, well, true. It is equally true for every person detained. Bobby Alvarez has stepped down as vice president of the Guam Visitors Bureau effective May 31st, and former GVB head Jerry Paris is returning to replace him temporarily, effective June 1st. GVB chairperson Sonny Atta says the moves were announced in a board meeting yesterday. This follows the retirement of Pilar Laguatnia as president of GVB last month and the appointment of former Governor Carl Gutierrez as the interim president. The board has said it is searching for a permanent president with extensive tourism experience. Governor Leon Guerrero announced just yesterday that plans for a limited reopening of the visitor industry by July 1st. Specifically, it would allow arrivals from Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan to bypass the mandatory 14-day quarantine. In national news, the White House is drafting an executive order that would make it easier for regulators to argue social media platforms are censoring free speech when they police users by deleting posts or accounts. This comes as President Trump has been engaged in a dispute with Twitter. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
Taking to Twitter, President Trump teased this will be a big day for social media and fairness as the White House works on an executive order targeting social media platforms that he accuses of being biased against conservatives.
The president is saying, please stop suppressing conservative voices and folks who feel like they don't necessarily are treated fairly there.
CBS News has confirmed the order aims to curtail legal protections that shield social media companies from lawsuits over what their users post. The president's dispute with Twitter escalated this week after it flagged one of his tweets for the first time for potentially misleading information about mail-in ballots.
Twitter cannot suppress voices and others can't suppress votes. That's part of our democracy.
The White House says it's prepared for legal challenges to the new action, which are likely to be coming its way. U.S. law protects social media companies from lawsuits based on Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. 2 Republican lawmakers tweeted that they are working on legislation to potentially change the law.
The Paycheck Protection Program.
Also on Capitol Hill, the House is expected to vote on a fix to the Paycheck Protection Program to give small businesses more time to use their federal funds. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Companies that received loans after the PPP program opened on April 3rd will see the 8-week loan forgiveness period begin to expire at the end of this week and in early June. The House bill would extend that deadline from the original 8 weeks to 24 weeks. In your Banking 671 report, the Bankers Association is encouraging residents who plan to file for Pandemic Unemployment Assistance or PUA to consider opting for direct deposit. To opt in, you are encouraged to take the following steps: open a deposit account with your preferred bank, collect necessary information, be prepared to provide your account number and your bank's routing number, and visit Guam DOL's online portal, hireguam.com, to apply for assistance once they begin to accept applications. And that is your Banking 671 report, brought to you by the Bank of Guam and Coast 360. Chris.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. 817. Again, thank you to our viewers on our KUAM News Facebook Live. Of course, the stream at KUAM.com and on the KUAM News app. And good morning to our KUAM TV 11 viewers, as we always throw the last half of the show on KUAM TV 11. Good morning. 817. Let's go to the phones where we have another quarantine case. This one, again, from the quarantine files. We're going to talk with James here, whose wife is currently in a Government of Guam quarantine facility. So thanks for joining us, James. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
Let's just start at the beginning. Can you tell us where your wife traveled from, her situation? Was there a COVID-19 test that she had taken prior to coming into Guam? Just give us all the deets.
Yeah, she had just came in from Japan. She had taken 2 tests. She took one 4 days ago, and we double checked and made sure that it'll be something accepted here on Guam.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went ahead and took one the day prior to flying in. Expecting to just get right through the airport. And she's a doctor over there, so everything there has been certified and all of this. There's no... I don't know what the issue was when she actually got in here, but they detained her, and they told her that they wouldn't accept that kind of a test. So we tried to talk to anybody who was in charge, and there was a lady named Vicky from the CDC that's working here on Guam from Hawaii. She told us, go ahead and go to this hotel for tonight, and tomorrow we'll come and we'll check your paperwork and we'll clear you, or we'll give you another test. Well, nobody's came to give her another test, and it's been 3 days now. They basically are holding her hostage. I don't know what the legality of this is, but we are looking into some kind of a law action, some kind of a lawsuit. I mean, they can't be doing this to people. It just seems like a money grab. Everybody's frustrated about this lockdown. They're locking people up for 2 weeks. She's only here for a week. They're locking her up for 2 weeks. I guess when her return ticket is, they'll go ahead and take her back to the airport. And it makes no sense that they're gonna be putting these people in there for 2 weeks, and instead of giving them a test at the airport. The government of Guam must have so much money to burn that they could afford the people of Guam to pay 2 weeks for all these strangers to fly in, get locked up. That's basically a kidnapping in my eyes. You take these people away from whatever they were supposed to be doing or what they wanted to do. She can't self-quarantine, which is another thing that's we can't understand why she can't self-quarantine. But I don't know if you guys know that around the island, they're setting up these testing stations, hoping that residents will go and get tested so they can see the results. Hardly anybody's ever even going there. Those nurses at the airport, I have no idea what their job is. They're getting paid double time to check your temperature as you walk in. It's like this whole thing has just seemed like nothing but a big money grab. Makes no sense whatsoever. Even in the newspaper, it said the governor had extended this lockdown, this last one that we're in currently, so she could have more time to use the federal funds. Meanwhile, we're all struggling over here to live our lives. Nobody's getting the aid that they need. I don't know what's up with this administration. It's a freaking circus going on here. I don't know what else to say except for we've been talking to all these officials that would actually answer the phone, and all they could say is, "Let me get back to you." They got to go talk to the supervisor. Nobody's ever getting back to me. Nobody's ever getting back to my wife. So she's just sitting there, counting the minutes, the hours, and now days. Yeah, they can't go and give her a simple test. I don't understand what that's all about.
Is there anybody at from public health at the quarantine facility where she's being held?
Yes, and I don't know why they're even there. I've been talking to them. I got to call the hotline so then they can call the staff that's at the hotel from public health. And then they finally call me back, and it's the same thing. They just say, I got to check in with that. I got to find the answer for that. I got to check my supervisor. So it literally took them 2.5 days to answer a question I didn't ask them. So she cannot self-quarantine at home because she's not a resident. But the question I had originally asked them was, why are they not giving her the test there? She got 2 test results. They both came back negative. For some reason, they only accept half of the doctor's recommendation of a different test. There's only 2 tests. Right. And apparently Japan only has 1 and Guam only accepts another. So the people at the hotel, public health, I guarantee you they're collecting double pay, this hazard pay, this whatever pay, and they're doing absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, you got actual first responders out there, you got police officers that's got to guide these people. You got all of these people that's been promised money for working in this hazardous condition, and now they're trying to gyp them. Went from like 25% to like 10%, and now some of these police officers are not even getting 10%. It's ridiculous. But you got these nurses at the hospital, you got these nurses and these CDC officials standing by at the airport making all these calls, not doing nothing. They're literally just standing there taking your temperature. The people at the store can stand there and take your temperature. It doesn't take any rocket scientist to read the temperature from this thermal gun. So why are we spending all this money and resources paying these qualified nurses that could be at the hospital actually helping patients? We're paying them double time or whatever it is that they're actually going to get. All of this extra money to stand there and just kidnap people.
James, so your wife, doctor in Japan, in case you guys are just joining us, she had 2 tests, both red negative. Unfortunately, they weren't the kind of tests that public health is accept. How come nobody has the kind of tests that public health is accepting? Mm-hmm. All right, how many people have we talked to who are in quarantine who come to Guam who have the negative test result, and then it's like, oh no, we're not accepting that one?
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but what kind of test was it? Because I know I've seen it and they kind of changed it. So it's like a specimen or something like that you're supposed to have.
There's 2 tests that they got, and the ones that they do over here in Guam is a nasal swab, I guess.
Yeah, the PCR.
And then the other one is a blood test, which
serology.
I would assume would take higher priority because they're testing your DNA and your blood. How many of these tests from the cotton swab, and I know personally some people, they tested negative, and 2 days later they tested positive. They tested negative on the first test. They got sick 2 days later. They got tested again, and then they were positive. So if the nasal swab is so unreliable, how are they denying a blood test? Maybe, in my eyes, maybe it's because the cotton swab test, one of the parties is getting a hookup, a kickback for each test you take on the cotton swab.
And then another party is bringing in the Q-tips.
Yeah, another party is bringing in the Q-tips from China, where we're probably administering this fucking disease.
Oh.
All right, sorry.
Hey, so what, James, your wife came in, you said she was only going to stay for a week. What kind of plans did you guys have?
Okay, so I've been here for since March 6th, for over 2 months now. Once I started hearing about this lockdown, I flew me and my kids over here to Guam to be safe. You know, not knowing, about the governor talking about, what is it, GVB video that was circulating around, inviting everybody over here because it's COVID-free. So anyway, I came over here just because it's safer and this is home. And if the stores close down in Japan, you can't just go out and pick mangoes and do this and that. So my kids have been here since March 6th, locked down since whenever the lockdown started, a week later. And school's starting back in Japan. It already started last week. So the goal was she was going to fly down here. She was going to pick up the kids, take them back. And that's another thing that just doesn't make any sense about this circus, is they can't see her. She can't see them. But when she's leaving, we can all meet up at the airport, which is, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that or any ideas of how that works. Like, now that she's leaving, we can all meet up at the airport. So she's locked up because she's probably sick, is what they're saying, right?
Right.
To be safe. But then when she's leaving, if she was sick and she is leaving, now we can go ahead and meet her at the airport and she can fly with the kids and I can go ahead and just contract this sickness and pass it on to my relatives here on Guam. Right? Nobody's testing. Like, it makes no sense that you're going to hold people for 2 weeks and you won't test them. Meanwhile, you got nurses and doctors out here at all these different test stations not getting any people to... Nobody wants to get tested by these guys. It's just like a whole waste of time. So she was just here to pick up the kids. She can't do that. Now she's got an Airbnb that she's paying for. She can't use it. Nobody's going to reimburse her for that. Guam doesn't care, obviously. We've seen the whole circus act. This has been a joke this whole time.
Just going back, sir, you said that you and your wife were told that, hey, just go. It almost seems a little tricky. The way they're saying, oh yeah, just go into quarantine, and then we'll test you in the morning. Because we've heard from 3 other people that they were told the same thing, and guess what? Once you check in, you can never leave, like the song goes. Well, you can leave when they let you leave, but I mean, anybody who's flying into Guam, don't fall for that. Don't fall for the, hey, yeah, just go in, boy, and we'll test you in the morning. Right on. Don't fall for that, because we keep hearing from people that that's not what is happening, and it didn't happen with you, right?
Yeah, it didn't happen with us.
What has your wife said about the quarantine, the condition of the quarantine facilities?
Which one is she at?
Well, first of all, it seems like they're just singling out people from Japan. I guess because of ignorance. They're trying to treat it like it's also Korea, like it's also China, where the numbers are really high and people are, people are easy to get these like fake papers. But from the beginning, she said it was like they treated her just like a prisoner. They rush you into these buses like cattle, and then as soon as you're all locked up in these buses, these military people with no weapons. It's another joke, right? They're guarding you with no weapons. I don't know if that's just for legality purposes because of martial law we're not in effect or what. But they just start, hey, shut up, listen up, everybody. And then they start giving you the rules. Breakfast is going to be at 6 a.m. Lunch is going to be at this time. You will not leave your place. If you leave, I don't know if anybody listening has ever been to boot camp, where they're talking about like where we get on the cattle buses, they pick you up from the airport, you all meet up, and then you're about to go to your basic training station, and all the military sergeants are freaking yelling at you, telling you blah, 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 blah. That's basically what she explained. Was her...
Does she have video of this?
I'm not too sure if she has video of it, but, there's got to be, out of the tons of people that's been flying in here, because since day one, I've been watching these planes fly into Guam. Nobody could leave, so I don't know why these planes are coming in here, But from day one, I've been watching all of these planes come in. that's every single day. There's been multiple planes coming in. You're talking Continental. You're talking like all the standard airlines, you know, that always fly in here. So out of all of these people, somebody's got to have a video.
Send us your video, everybody. If you got video, send it. I get videos, but mostly it's from the first round of the quarantine. And then we were able to talk with Kirsten, who also was provided some video. But yeah, that sounds like some good video. But man, James, if that's me and you got, you know, some dude from the Guard who's like, Fallout, man, 0600 Reveille, I don't know if I'm going to want to take out my phone and film, because the impression that I'm getting from what you're saying is it's intimidating. And
yeah.
Oh,
I mean, we've heard that you know, from old girl Kirsten, that they were kind of vindictive when she was, you know, making a lot of noise about it. The way she was being treated got worse with the more noise that she made. Has your wife made noise, or is she just calling you and letting you know? Has she tried to discuss with any of the officials there her situation?
Well, she has been trying to contact the Department of Health workers that are downstairs in the lobby, and it's a crazy thing because there's no actual direct number to them. She has to call the front desk, and the front desk has to relay the message, and then she just has to wait for anybody to like respond back to her. You know, so
yeah,
she's been calling. She's been wondering, like, what, you know, common sense would say, if you really care about the people and you really care about the people's money, you would use a test on them and then wait whatever the time period is, you know, 1 day or 2 days. You know, the taxpayer would only pay to have my wife in there for 2 days, and then if she's cleared, she'll be out. If she's not, then obviously quarantine and ship her back out, you know. But none of this had happened. Nobody has any idea about this test, is what they're telling her. So I'm calling as well. And apparently we're just going through the same three people.
Right.
They're just bouncing the phone calls back. Hey, Parge, your turn. Take this one. Hey, it's James again. Hey, keep messing with him.
How do you block his number?
Yeah, they're not even trying to block it. They just don't even answer it.
James, let me ask you, because we had a comment here talking about the inconsistencies. And since you've been here since March, I'm pretty sure you followed the media reports about the director of GITA getting a free pass out of quarantine. You know, and we've seen, so in the example of the director of GITA, there was a death in the family. She was allowed to totally bypass quarantine. They didn't tell her, hey, yeah, just go in and check in, and then in the morning we'll let you out. She totally bypassed the quarantine. We interviewed a woman whose son and the husband were here because a similar death in the family. Guess what? Yeah, they got told, hey, yeah, go in the hotel and we'll sort it out, and didn't really happen for them. So it's like a tale of two quarantines. And then you have the former chief of staff, Tony Babauta, who was able to spend the night, have a little sleepover at the Pacific Star, and then in the morning, and they said he slept over because he wasn't feeling well, which is clear. I think that was all a lie, honestly. They said he wasn't feeling well. He woke up the next day and he was able to leave without being tested. So that's what really is frustrating for me, is we have shown that if you're in, there's one set of rules that apply to you, and if you're everybody else,
you get to get out.
I'm going to write that down. If you're in, you get to get out. But how does that make you feel, man, to know that if you're in, you're connected?
If you're in, you're out. If you're out, you're in.
Right.
That's exactly what I asked the public health officials. Is like, do we have to call Auntie Lou to let us out? You know, what's the actual protocol? What's the reason you're holding her? You know, they cannot even give an answer of that. You know, so yeah, it's very frustrating to know that if you're connected, you know, politically, you can just waltz right through, do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then if you're everybody else, if you're the common people that probably even voted for them, you know, your vote doesn't matter now because they're in. You can just go ahead and get, you know, put over here to this farce, this circus act. Like I said from the beginning, I think it's just a big money grab. Hey, Par, I'm gonna use your hotel, right? Yeah, sure. Just throw me a little kickback. Let's charge the people of Guam more than normal rates because the hotel rates right now is pretty high. I don't know if you guys seen how much it costs to run one of these quarantine stations for 2 weeks. What is it, $500,000?
In one case, it was. You're right. It was $544,000.
Yeah, that's big money.
Yeah.
And where do they think this money is going to come from? Like, are they just using all of this federal money and they're just like burning up as much as they can? They're living the good life. Meanwhile, every one of us got to freaking suffer here. You know, not necessarily every single one, because we're fortunate enough that my family's got a ranch. You know, so we've got fruits and vegetables. We got stuff to do. We got a big yard to play in. You know, we're not feeling cooped up. But I got relatives, and I'm sure a lot of people out there's got relatives, and some of the listeners are living in apartments. You know, so we're having to live totally different lives. So I'm not as affected as some other people, and these other people here trying to pay their bills. They can't get their money from the governor because they're too busy giving their party deals. You know, hey, money, par, all right, charge them this on the hotel. We'll keep them there. I'll bring in all the people. I'll bring all the guests. We'll fill up your hotel. They're filling up these hotels now. You know, one thing that really upsets me when you look at it, nobody's really asking the questions that really need to be asked. Who is checking these pilots and the crew staff from these airlines? I know for a fact that they're getting picked up. They're getting escorted over to the outrigger. They're living their life like it's normal, and then they just leave and fly again. How do we know that these guys are not sick? Who is testing them, and why are they not getting quarantined for 2 weeks? It makes no sense to me that the flight crew can keep coming in. All these big businesses like Continental and, you know, whatever else can fly in whenever they want, make their profits, fly out whenever they want, make more profits. Meanwhile, we're all locked up. The residents of Guam are locked up. All these foreigners coming in that are pilots and crew staff, you know, airline flight attendants, they're just coming in and going out. Who's testing these guys? Nobody talks about that. Like, they just come in and they just leave whenever they want. I bet you if they started quarantining these flight attendants and these captains, that the planes would actually stop coming in, and the number of COVID cases would have dropped a long time ago, which means we would have been out of this crisis, this circus, you know, this pandemic, you know, a long time ago. But it's crazy that it's only a one-way street for some people. You just go straight to lockup. They just lie to you to get you there. I don't know. Has nobody actually checked the legality of this kidnapping or this hostage situation? Because that's basically what it is.
Well, let us know. I mean, you said you're thinking about maybe doing some legal action, James. You got my number. I really want to keep us in the loop.
Real quickly, though, before we let you go, how old are your children?
8, and the other one just turned 5 2 days ago.
Wow, and they haven't had a hug from their mom in 3 months?
Nope, yeah, they haven't had them. Yeah, they haven't.
Man, James, so I'm pretty sure that the kids, were you guys all at the airport when the wife came in?
Yeah, and for the last couple of days, we've been, you know, like clowns, we've been circling town thinking that she's going to get this test soon, and we're going to get the results, and I can just pop right in, and, you know, and then it'll all be good. But, no, it hasn't. So today we're just trying to stay here instead of circling around in town, because we know nothing's going to happen down there with these public health officials. You know, none of their numbers are really working for the higher-ups. So they're all making their money. They're all making their double time, but they ain't actually doing any work. So explain that to me.
All right. James, man, I appreciate you getting your side of the story out here, and we're going to make some phone calls and find out, why aren't people in quarantine being tested? You're right. I mean, we've had a bunch of calls like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just common sense, and I guess this I don't even know what you would call this circus act of a government cabinet, you know. I don't know why they don't got common sense to just test people at the airport. If you're going to allow people to fly in, you should be testing there. I don't know why they have the nurses there if they're not going to test there.
Good point, James, and appreciate it, man. And I'll shoot you a message later today.
All right, Chris.
Okay. Wash your hands, man.
Yeah, every day.
Okay.
Good luck.
Well. Another one from the quarantine files. We never hear a happy story from the quarantine. I'm waiting because I heard there were happy stories in the quarantine and people were grateful
to be in quarantine.
That's what I heard from some people. The quarantine angels, or the quarantine shepherds, or what were they? Soldiers. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, but I haven't heard that yet. If you had a great time in quarantine and you just want to say thank you, give us a call, 637-0094. You gonna hold your breath while we wait for that call?
There might be a
there might be, yeah. You never know.
Yeah. And yeah, we're serious about it. If you had a wonderful, great experience,
best 2 weeks ever.
637-0094. We made friends with
this.
You.
Made friends with this really cool cockroach that was in my room. The conversation was choice. All right, it's 8:42. We're gonna take a little break and come back with more containing COVID next on Guam's Favorite. Good morning.
As an institution that has been a part of our lives,
keeping you informed, KUAM News brings you Banking 671, brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
KUAM News COVID-19 Takeover on I-94 FM is presented locally by Ambrose Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
With the new challenges we're all facing, First Hawaiian Bank wants to make sure you have access to your financial world. With FHB Online and our mobile app, we hope to make banking the least of your worries. Visit fhb.com/digital.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD.
It's not always easy trying something new. Sometimes you have to help your loved ones along. Nana is so used to her weekly trips to the bank that going online can be a little scary for her. But her grandson knows that banking online is safer and easier. So he's teaching her how to get started using Bank of Guam's online banking videos. Teaching is one way to show our loved ones we care, keep your family safe at home, and show them how to bank online. Find easy-to-use online banking tutorials at bankofguam.com or on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
Calling all graduating seniors. Join us by showing your class pride in the celebration caravan you deserve through the island's major thoroughfares. KUAM and its partners want to recognize your accomplishments and help celebrate this pivotal moment in your lives. To participate, email promotions@kuam.com and let's get this show on the road. Special thanks to ABC Stores Guam and The Dungeon. We hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a challenging time for all, but now, more than ever, our cancer patients and caregivers need us. Although we are apart, we stand united in the fight against cancer. The American Cancer Society Guam is excited to announce our first virtual Relay for Life. Join us on Saturday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV 8, as well as on I-94 FM and streaming on KUAM News digital platforms. Cancer does not stop, and neither can we. On June 27th, let's celebrate together and fight cancer. Visit relayforlife.org/GuamGU to find out how you can participate in the 2020 Virtual Relay for Life Guam.
Be healthy. Be informed with IT&E.
This is my quarantine facility. I own you while we're in this quarantine facility. You eat when I say you eat. You get tested? Nah, you don't get tested. You guys ready to do 14 days in the hole? Auntie Lou said lock you up for 2 weeks. What kind of test is that? Is that a Japan test? Get that test out of my face. We only accept the test that you don't have.
Sir?
You be quiet. You speak when spoken to.
Sir?
Yeah, thanks, James, for that insight. If you're just joining us, James said that when his wife went into quarantine, she was on the quarantine shuttle. The quarantine coach. I guess the members of the guard were giving them the 411 about, Reveille at 5:30 a.m. Breakfast will be served at 0600 hours. Well, they probably say it in like the military time, This is my quarantine facility.
I own you.
8:49. Good morning. Yeah, that was something else. Let's go to the phones here. I want to get Lynn on because she has a question about checks. Lynn, good morning.
Good morning.
We got excited because I thought you were going to be our positive quarantine story.
Oh, no. I quarantined myself long time before this thing.
Okay.
Well, anyways, good morning to you and
Good
Mr.
morning.
Brina.
Good morning.
Hope all you guys are all doing safe. Thank you for your hard work, leaving the family at home, coming to keep us updated again.
Oh, thanks.
The reason why I'm calling, I'm sorry, I know you guys are really busy, is, this check that they were sending out for the people, everybody to get that $1,200 for individuals, $2,000 for couples, kids, and all that.
The EAP.
Have you guys heard any status on that? Because I called DRT, and according to, I believe her name is Norma Jean, she told me they're waiting on the funds, and I thought the funds were already in.
I think it's the first installment of funds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, gosh, I can't remember the exact amount, but I know that they were supposed to get another payment from the feds, I believe. Because there's so many different funds out there. Yeah. I want to say Reventex is waiting for another deposit from IRS, but I'd have to look that up.
Okay, and then another thing with this unemployment.
Lynn, can you speak up just Lynn, can you speak up a little bit?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Another thing with the unemployment, the ones that were furloughed from working, he's wondering too because he heard that they said they're going to start doing it by the end of this week. So he was asking me if I can just ask that question as well.
Yeah, we've been checking every day since we interviewed Dave Della Sola. I want to say it was on Tuesday, because you're right. He did say that they're trying to get the online portal up for people to apply online by the end of this week. I think you may have gotten something from Hannah Cho, the spokesperson.
I got a statement here because I kind of felt like, when the record is skipping and they keep saying the same thing over and over?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I felt with our last few updates from labor, because nothing has really moved forward. But so we had asked, because Dave Della Sola, the labor director, was on the show this week. And I got to give him credit for, coming on and giving the updates. Because I think he understands that no update is an update. You know what I mean? So I asked Hannah, can you give us a statement? Because David said he anticipated the online application for unemployment would be up and running by the end of the week, which is today. And Hannah Cho, who's the labor PIO, responded, as stated by Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, the online application for the pandemic employment benefits is slated to launch this weekend on HireGuam.com. Guam Department of Labor is in its final stages of testing and troubleshooting the system. As of Thursday, 1,136 employers registered separation notices for 21,458 workers on HireGuam.com. So that's where they are with the application. And they have,
297 million, I believe.
Yeah,
first installment.
Sitting in the bank, and we just had no way to give the money out.
Well, they sent out the release 2 weeks ago, I believe, letting everybody know, we've got this money. And then we find out over the weekend that it hadn't actually been deposited because of some technical issues on USDOL side. So that occurred last weekend. And so here we are. We've been waiting for the actual online portal to go live. And so we're going to check again today, just in the event that maybe it does go up today. But he did say at the end of the week, which would be
today.
End of the week, Sunday.
Well, I guess
technically Sunday.
I don't know.
Right?
Are you Sunday's the first day of the week?
Yeah, Sunday is the first day of the week.
Or are you a seventh day? Yeah, so we'll keep you posted. But, when that application comes out, you guys go and apply. Dave was saying the turnaround is going to be, at least for and I want to be fair here, he said that when we figure it out, maybe it'll get shorter, but right off the bat, you turn in the application, 21 days review period.
Yeah, that's the standard.
That's
And you wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that, I'm not going to lie. I believe everyone would say the same thing where, it frustrates them. Everybody's worried about double pay, hazardous pay, all these kinds of pay. Why not concentrate on paying everyone out? We're all human. We all use the money for our bills, food, necessities, what we need. Why don't we concentrate on taking care of everyone out first to give them the money, and then from there worry about the double pay, hazardous pay? We appreciate what they're doing. Not saying we don't appreciate what they're doing in trying to help prevent this from spreading so much, but at least help out everyone. We're all humans. We're not animals. Even my own animals, I treat them like humans, but common sense, treat everybody, give everybody. Then from there, let's work, as a team. Get everybody together so they can all be happy. Maybe the break-ins, burglaries, stealings, and whatsoever will not even be happening if, they help everybody, not only a particular person, because people say they're government, private sectors, or whoever related or whatever. We're all humans. That's just basic common sense. We worry about giving everyone, and then from there, let's worry about who needs the double pay if, the funds are there. But at least everybody got it. So that's the thing that frustrates me when I hear everybody complaining about double pay, hazardous pay. Why don't we help each other out and give everyone so everybody can get to where they need to go? Look, right now, GPA and Waterworks, according to them, you have to do a payment plan by the end of this month, else you're going to be getting cut off. I don't know if you guys were familiar with that as well.
Right, yeah.
So I had to try to see how I can get a hold of them due to, their lines are busy, email them, but you don't get a call back right away. So I called. 2 days passed. That's when I finally got a hold of them and was able to make a payment arrangement. But the way they work their payment arrangement is depending on how big your bill is, and then you have to base yourself from there again to pay half of it and then go from there again. So, that money there that is coming in from President Trump, from the federal, wherever, it would be a big help, but yet we're focusing on paying people their tax so that way they can pay their own bills. They worked hard for that money. That should be spent on their fun time and whatnot. Like everybody else should spend that tax on their fun time. But with that check, the one that's coming from President Trump federal, that should be used for the bills and, whatever we need for home-wise.
Yeah, well, all the money actually is coming from
so
the
that's
federal
the thing
government.
that frustrates me. No offense, but Mr. Chris and Miss Sabrina, like I said, I really appreciate you guys' intel. I'm gonna hang up because I'm already, feeling this pain. I'm shaking already because it
calm
hurts
down.
to hear all of these things.
Mhm.
It's everybody is suffering. Not only one person. Everybody is. Not only one.
That's true.
Yeah.
So please, God bless, be safe, wash your hands, shower, and, hug the family, spend time with them because we never know what's going to happen because the Lord blesses with this virus for everybody to stay home and be with their family.
Yeah. Well, at least know, I have been trying to get daily updates on the EIP and the Programmen Salapi. Dudini Tautal.
No, put out, it's, the way I call it is SSDT. It's always the same. I kind of say that S word,
right?
Different day. It's always SSDD for me. That's why, I try to keep listening to you and Chris, Miss Sabrina.
We give you DSDD. We give you a different, different day.
I thank the Lord we have, two people like you guys keeping us updated and informed, every day, every morning. I tune into you guys. On my, news, once it hits 4 o'clock, I wait until you guys get online all the way until you guys are offline. So, thank you. You guys have a good day. God bless and
God
be
bless
safe.
you. Okay, wash your hands. Thank you.
Yeah, we try our hardest to get the updates. We know everybody wants to know about the PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, and the FPUC. Again, that is hopefully by this weekend that they'll be able to get that online portal available for people to apply for that unemployment assistance. I know it has been weeks, months. We've been talking about it. And even when you do apply, unfortunately, according to Mr. De La Sola, the standard is 21 days to vet that application. He's trying to shorten that time, but just be ready to wait another 3 weeks.
Be ready to wait. We've been doing it the whole COVID.
Yeah. And in as far as the EIP stimulus checks and the Programmen Salapi, Chris says Benelastaku checks, we do check every day to get an update from Adelup, and so we, once we get it, we put it out. So that's all I can tell you in terms of getting the information you need. But we do check every day.
Yeah, but we shouldn't
and we're not
going to
stop.
We shouldn't have to. The Adelup should be putting out.
Yeah, it should just be part of their
information every day.
It should be part of their Joint Information Center release.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from the results, those are the most important things. People are hungry. They need their checks from the federal government. And I mean, that's all everybody wants is information. And unfortunately for the people at quarantine today with James, we need some answers. That is just unacceptable.
It's like I told you, they only accept the test that you don't have.
Yeah.
Someone said, what kind of test though? It's the one you don't have. That's okay.
To be treated like that, if that is in fact what is happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I really hope that's not true, but I mean, you got to go with what, someone is saying. And that's what he's claiming.
Yeah.
And it's the stories you hear, there's just too many people saying the same thing, that the conditions are crap.
The way they're getting treated is crap. They're not getting answers.
Yeah. And like we said, we invite, if you had this wonderful 2-week stay in quarantine hotels,
right,
call us 637-0094.
Like, let's say that, Alice Tyron or Rebecca Respicio brought you towels at the middle of the night and it really smelled like fabric softener and you want to share that with us, let us know. Let's keep it on the phones here. It's about to get a little hectic. We're going to bring on businessman Mike Israel. I just saw that he's been kind of been busy in the comments there, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, this is the topic I wanted to talk about today was, the combination quarantine hotels. What are we doing? And what we see now is a vision of what Guam tourism would be like if public health ran everything. And it's unbelievable. I mean, we would literally be back in the the ancient days, as everybody wants to go back to. Now we're reduced to begging. This is what our culture is. We beg from the federal government. Oh, please, federal government. At the same time, we're telling them, oh, but you're a colonist. I mean, I'm all confused. So watching this business about how the government thinks they know how to run a hotel business, part of the confusion is that the public health of Guam, they're frozen in time. They literally have no idea what they're doing. So 8, 9, 10 weeks ago, when we were confronted by this scare where we were brought by these experts who the governor still keeps listening to, that we're going to have 22,000 deaths on Guam, then later revised down to 1,700 deaths. So in panic, they went out and set up an emergency quarantine down at the airport. I get it. But that was 8, 9, 10 weeks ago. And 8, 9, 10 weeks ago, we didn't have any tests. Now we have a test, so I don't get it. And furthermore, from day one, they always said, oh, by the way, if you ever get test negative, you can escape the quarantine hotel. But the secret was they never designated what test they're going to accept. It was always this vague, well, no, we want the absolute best test, but we don't know what the best test is. They keep specifying things that don't exist.
Yeah, it's like I said, they accept the test that you don't have.
Yeah. Now, I mean, and we can go into all the horror stories, and it is horror stories. I mean, it's not so bad being a 14-day quarantine in your own home, but being forced to put a 14-day quarantine in a hotel run by the government, because that's what it is, the hotel being run by the government, that's a nightmare. That's a prison sentence. That's boot camp, as they said. Right. I mean, you will have dinner at 6. What is this, prison? And these are our own people we're doing this to.
Yeah.
And you know, frustrations on the outside. Now, I've noticed, and I like the conversation where they were talking about, well, in Guam, we seem to have now split into two. There are two worlds here. One world of those who are being paid and have no fear about their future paychecks. In some cases are being hopefully paid double, they think, or receive 15, 20% wage increases overnight. All for an emergency that doesn't seem to affect anybody. I mean, it really is. I mean, we're sitting around wearing masks that really are not effectual for anything. I mean, the new test coming out. I mean, it was a good idea in the beginning out of a cautious. See, the problem is they start with a rule, and they never want to repeal it. And this is the problem. There's no accountability. Now, how do we create accountability in the government? Follow the Benjamins. Very simple. I guarantee you, if every elected official, every unclassified employee, and every judge on this island stopped receiving paychecks on the day that they ordered all its businesses to shut down so we can't pay our employees, I guarantee you this emergency would have been over months ago. What do you think, Chris?
I wanted to ask Mike about because we actually had former Governor Gutierrez name drop you so we never got to follow up. I was just waiting for you to do your spiel so I could ask about that.
No, that's it. I mean, why do we have to have two worlds on here? I mean, Luke keeps saying we're all in this together. No, Governor, we're not. You, your staff, your people, i.e. GovGuam workers and everybody, they're getting paid very handsomely. We're not. And we're the ones eventually who pay you guys. That's the part that's really frustrating. Yeah. But, okay, what about Governor Gutierrez?
Okay,
that was the one move I absolutely applaud. The governor, great. You've put someone now who has experience in crisis, who knows how to get us out of here. I hope she listens to him.
Right, and so when we brought him on, he had said that he was assembling his own panel of advisors on tourism and the economy, and you were one of the names he dropped. He said, yeah, I'm going to get... I forget who else he said, but...
Mark Waldiga.
Right, and then he said Mike Israel. But so are you on that panel? Can you tell us what happened?
Yes. There's we had a meeting, and one thing amazing about Governor Gutierrez is he is such a confident and secure leader that he is not afraid to bring in the people who will have criticisms. He's not afraid. He sits back. He puts us in a group and, kind of watches like a dogfight, watches go at each other. And from it, he distills a good path. And that's a brilliant leader. Unfortunately, that's not seen what we have in our current governor, where she's listening to a very, very tiny echo chamber of people who are being paid 100%. She has no outsiders on her committee. It's always insiders because she doesn't want to hear criticisms. It hurts, but sometimes you need to hear, because one day those criticisms are going to be at your gates. They're going to be knocking down your gates. You know, I mean, I don't know if we're out there yet with torches and pitchforks, but you've heard the voices this morning. People are starting to get mad. They were scared at first and they cowered us, but now we're starting to get mad. And for what? We're looking around. Really? You know, do you really think we've stopped the spread? I don't think so. I mean, I go on the beach, I go in public, everybody's walking around. Those masks we all wear are next to worthless. I mean, you saw I've sent you some reports on that. We're finding more and more information that, for the most part, this so-called dreaded disease affects a very, very tiny percentage of the population. And all we were scared of 8 weeks ago was, are we going to have enough hospital space? We got so much hospital space, we've reopened the hospital back to normal business, because it's been a joke. For 2 months now, they've had like 0 patients.
Hey, so what are you on this panel with the governor?
Yeah, what happened at the meeting?
We discussed it, and the panel he has is much more focused on how do we open safely, and how do we open in such a way to convey a message that we are a safe place to visit.
So how do we do that, Mike?
Well, we have to have realistic ideas. So one of the first ones is to review the current medical information. And what does the current medical say? Asymptomatic people are not spreaders. It's symptomatic people who test positive. They're the spreaders. Symptomatic means you have a fever. When you have a fever, that means your body has engaged with corona. It's now in a fight. Believe it or not, the vast majority of us, we might catch COVID on the outside of us, but it doesn't seem to injure us. It's like, you know, when you lie down next to your dog, I mean, he's breathing out, I'm sure, tons of dog viruses. Not every dog virus is going to get on you. I mean, it might be on you, and I guess if we had a sensitive enough test, we could even detect it. That's why we're having so much massive false positives. False positives means you're tested to have remnants of the COVID in you or on you, but they're dead. They for some reason got in you, and they weren't even killed by your antibody system, because, you know, we're also getting people who aren't developing antibodies, even though they've never had, even though they've tested positive and they have no symptoms. So it's really interesting. And so we're chasing our tail. We're chasing on our tail. We've got to start easing off a little bit. Let us have our freedom back, which is what we're entitled to. And and that's the big word, if we start having hospitalizations and other real issues, we're chasing ghosts right now, and that's why everybody's scared.
So Mike, in this meeting, was it discussed about lifting the public health emergency declaration, because she extended it? It expires on June 30th, but the target to restart tourism is July 1st. So,
okay. One of the reasons we want to do that is, remember, this is not like tap water. You don't just turn it on, turn it off. Tourism in Guam, you have to travel literally thousands of miles to get here. We have to have people booking reservations. Even though we have symbolically said, "Oh, we're open for business in July," we're not going to have real business until August, September, October. Even then, it's questionable. It will be years before we recover to where we were. And you know, FYI, that means no revenues for the government of Guam. We're going to get used to this new reality. Wait till the longer we hold off. So our July 1 opening is a good first step forward. Then we also requested, and we're. But
do you believe that this public health emergency needs to be lifted by 1 July? I mean, how could we?
If I was the governor of Guam right now, but I'm not, I would just cancel it right now and watch to see what happens. We now have, unlike 2 months, 3 months ago, I don't fault the governor for originally issuing the emergency order, but I do fault her now, because we now have hospital capability, so much so we've even we're turning down hospitals. She's purchased another additional hospital beds on top of all that. We have enough hospital beds to cover 350 hospitalizations for COVID. We have 0. We were concerned about our hospitalization capacity 3-4 months ago. We were concerned about treatments. We had no known treatments. Now, hydroxychloroquine, chloroquine, or whatever they call it. I call them Trump pills. It pisses off everybody. But guess what? They work. The world leaders are taking them. You see, even the Democrats, you know, when they have a spouse that has it, guess what? The go-to medication, the go-to one was take some hydroxy, especially if you catch it early.
I'm just going to stick to my disinfectants. They're working pretty good.
Well, or shine a light down your throat. That's supposed to work according to Trump too.
So I mean, I guess the point Bree is making is
we have tools now. We don't have to have this draconian system she's put in place where we all walk around thinking we're going to drop dead.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had any real deaths.
Mm-hmm.
The 5, they were at the very beginning. We've hadn't had any since then because now we have ways to treat it if you happen to get it. But this is a very mild disease. It's just been blown out of proportion with false reporting. They're now they got murder they got murder and murder victims now being listed as COVID deaths.
All right, but just getting back to that public health emergency, because you are part of this group with former Governor Carl Gutierrez, is that part of the plan to have this to convince the governor to lift the public health emergency by June 30th, so that come July 1st, when or even if we start marketing Guam now, that we're not saying, oh yeah, come to Guam, but we're still in a public health emergency.
Yeah,
it's safe. Come on in.
Is one of the paradoxes. I mean, when we need to do things incrementally. So first we had to get a message out. In fact, original idea was, why don't we delay announcing it until sometime in June? And we said, no, you don't understand. Right now, airlines are closing their books, i.e., we're going to fly planes here, here, and here. If we don't announce like within 24 hours of when we met, and to the governor's credit, she did listen to Carl Gutierrez, Governor Carl, and she did announce, which is a great first step. But we have a lot of things to do in the meantime. That's why we have a whole month to do it. We need to put in place procedures, realistic procedures that people think, oh, you're just going to fly right into Guam unprotected and we're going to contaminate all of Guam. No. First off, we just went ahead and limited it to Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan. Why? Because their numbers of handling the COVID, and they're much further along the way than we are even lower than ours. And even at the peak of the industry, it's like 6% of the population at any one time. Okay? So we don't see the tourists as much of a threat. In fact, even the CDC coordinator on Guam, or the person who claims to represent the CDC, has said, yeah, we don't have any cases of a spread from a tourist from those 3 countries to the population. We have them from Manila, and those are residents who went to Manila for treatments, and then they came back sick. Manila is basically our go-to place for the seriously ill.
Right.
And that's why the 3 other cases that died, they were from Manila. And I have no idea what their conditions were. I do know the first 2, they were in hospice care, basically. They would have died any second now.
Mike, because I just want to ask, as I don't know, are people from Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, are they already traveling around touristing as we speak?
No. Unfortunately, their jurisdictions are what they're doing is they're opening up their economies. That's what you saw the big announcement, why we're excited. Because, again, everything's about a first step. They're opening up their economies, but they still have in place vigorous quarantine requirements. In fact, even Taiwan has said they're not even going to allow people into October. But by us opening up and making a declaration, the airlines are going to say, good, let's position some planes that can at least have a chance of going to Guam, and then we're going to pressure the other governments. If we don't do something, if we don't show some leadership in the Pacific, we're going to stay in perpetual lockdown, and Guam cannot survive. There's not enough federal money in the world to keep Guam afloat. It just doesn't work that way.
So who else is on Governor Gutierrez's superhero club?
Well, David John and Ken Cook, who are part of the inner circle. Remember, there's various circles, and this is why this committee that with Carl is more focused on opening tourism. It's only a part of it, the decision-making process.
Right.
And our recommendation is, as you walk in, as you fly into the airport, you're asked to fill out a card. What is your name? Who are the members of your party? What hotel are you staying at? And what is the contact number? Either a cell phone number or an internet. Almost 100% of all tourists now have cell phones that work when they're on Guam. As they walk through the screening process, they're going to hit the airport. We have at the airport, they've now installed through a $20 million FAA grant, they've installed these sensitive thermal imaging centers. And if you walk in and you're under a certain temperature, I mean, I just call it red because I don't know the details, but if you're blue, no problem. You turn red, i.e. you're a little hot, they're going to ask you to step aside. They're going to take an actual test, and the actual test either comes out negative, in which case I guess you're allowed to continue with your pack, or it comes out positive, in which case then you're going to be given a choice. turn around, fly back to your country of origin, or go into a quarantine until you either clear quarantine or you, not even quarantine anymore, it's called isolation. And this is part of the problem. We're very sloppy with our words. Quarantine means we think you might have COVID, but we don't know. Isolation means we know you have COVID and we want you to stay isolated. See the difference? And this is in the law. The problem is public health doesn't know how to read the law, and they just put everybody into isolation automatically. Quarantine means we have no reason to know whether you are in or out. Right. But now we have a test. And so therefore we don't need quarantine anymore. What we should do is this isolation if we show you're positive for COVID. If not, please go along your way. Why are we disturbing you? Mm-hmm. And remember, the Guam International Airport, even without any controls whatsoever, has backup lines up to 1 to 2 hours. It was in our heyday when we had 4,000 visitors a day visiting Guam.
All right, Mike. Okay,
yeah.
You're kind of losing me here. So who else is on this Uncle Carl Club committee?
And then there was Richard. Not Richard. Let's see. There's Jerry Paris. Right. Very big old hand at.
What do you think of Jerry Paris? Well, first of all, what do you think of Bobby Alvarez? It finally looks like United got their man.
Bobby Alvarez. I'm sorry. I don't live in the political world. I have no idea what a Bobby Alvarez is.
Oh,
he was the deputy at GVB, and now he's not.
Okay. GVB unfortunately has turned into a political organization, and I stay away from politics. I like to serve meals and clean beds. I don't get into politics except now because they've cut off our supply of business, and I have 1,000 local families that are looking at it and saying, when are we going to start eating? When are we going to start working again so we can support ourselves instead of having to go beg food along the side of the road from federal dispensaries and stuff. And that's what we're trying to do.
Mike, what's the debate about testing at the airport? Because I heard there was a debate about incoming, incoming travelers. Do we want to test them there, or what's your take on that?
No, because testing should not just be done across the board. It's not. Testing doesn't accomplish anything. The false positives are astronomical. And even if you're negative one moment, you can become positive the next. So testing doesn't mean anything. We need to be a little more strategic about what we do. We need to first screen, and we need to screen to see if you're symptomatic. If you're running a fever, then we test you. Testing asymptomatic people and asymptomatic means there's no reason to believe they have any reason, and testing them wholesale. Remember, we used to have 1 to 2 hour lines. We're going to have like 8 or 10. I mean, these tests might take 8 hours. I mean, I don't know what kind of tests the public health is using. I don't think they know. I think it's all random because there's not been one test approved. Because I wanted to bring not visitors, but my family back. And they said, how do we get to Guam? I said, well, they said if you took a 72-hour test, you could fly right in and walk through. The problem is that the person just said, yeah, but they didn't specify what test you have to have. They don't specify what person has to sign off on it, what type of doctor. A doctor in Guam only is the only one again, they set up a rule back 8, 9, 10 weeks ago, and they never finished the rule writing. So we're in limbo now. I came in, they told me I had 14 days quarantine, but in my home. Well, okay. They said they were going to come by and visit me and do a second test, or not even a test, check up on me, because we didn't have tests back then in March. Test only came out recently.
Okay, so you, Jerry Paris, Ken, David, John, Mark Beldiga, that's it?
There was a few other people in the room, but we're all wearing these masks, so we can't tell.
Well, no introductions like hi and so and so.
No. With Carl Gutierrez, it's all business, man. You come in.
How often do you guys meet?
We met about 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
Carl is also, I believe, acting GVB, so he's got a lot of other things.
Right.
He just wants to hear our opinions. We spout off. He says, thank you very much, after he listens to a diverse range of opinions.
Right.
That's the smart thing about Carl. And then he goes off and makes some recommendations to the governor. Some are made, some are not. I mean, that's why I said is that, we have lots of ideas, but we don't know necessarily the final process.
Right.
There's a higher circle of authority that the governor has. I just simply saying is we need to do something. And it's upsetting me to see on this island two sets of people, those that are receiving a regular paycheck and those who don't know when they're going to receive their next paycheck. And that's wrong.
Yeah. Well, Mike,
cause a lot of anger.
We're going to touch base with you again next week, and you tell us any developments with that tourism meeting. It's always good to get your definitely a different perspective on this show, so we appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike.
All right,
I'll see you. Wash your hands.
Yes, of course.
Okay. 9:22. Good morning. We're getting Sergeant Paul Tapau coming up in just a couple minutes. We'll take a short break. Again, the show is proudly brought to you by Cabos Insurance, IT&E, Ambrose, Coast 360, and the Bank of Guam. I just got a text here from John Birch, the acting director of the Department of Parks and Rec. Good morning, Chris. FYI, parks are open, but restrooms are closed.
I'm glad I wanted to ask him about that.
Trying to be proactive, I began the refurbishment of restrooms in almost all the public parks under DPR's control. I expect a lot of calls on this issue. My intention was to take advantage of the shutdown to repair these facilities. I hope people will be patient, but with graduations occurring and not many options available to celebrate this occasion, I expect many people will venture into our parks. Here's a list of the park restrooms that are closed because they're under construction, refurbishment, and or construction is expected to start ASAP. Chinese Park in Upper Tumon, Skate Park Dedito, EPOW Park Hilton side, EPOW Park GVB side, Padre Paloma Memorial Beach Park Hagåtña, Paseo in Hagåtña, Angel Santos Laddystone Memorial Park, Fort Santa Agata, Agana Heights, Fisheye Park in Petey, Nimitz Park in Agate, Fort Soledad in Umatic, Inaran Pool Park in Inarajan, Talafofo Beach Park in Talafofo.
Are you reading the list of
These
parks?
are closed. The
restroom
bathrooms,
facilities.
the restrooms are closed.
Well, it sounds like all of them.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, just send that over and we'll send it to digital
Yeah.
and they can create a graphic for you or even put it in the comments.
And then closed due to vandalism with construction scheduled to start in approximately 2 to 3 weeks in Matapang Beach Park.
Matapang?
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. Again, parks are open. Bathrooms are closed. 9:23. Take a break and come back.
Calling all graduating seniors. Join us by showing your class pride in the celebration caravan you deserve through the island's major thoroughfares. KUAM and its partners want to recognize your accomplishments and help celebrate this pivotal moment in your lives. To participate, email promotions@kuam.com and let's get this show on the road. Special thanks to ABC Stores Guam and The Dungeon.
So rise up this morning.
Want me to write that down?
Hey, morning, 9:29.
With the rising sun.
Friday,
Write it
dine-in,
down.
double pay Friday. As dine-in restaurants opened an hour and a half ago, we had Catherine from the Division of Environmental Health on to talk about all the different guidelines. 9:29. Let's keep it on the phones here and go to the Guam Police Department and bring on spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau. Good morning, Sarge. Try that again. Okay, I guess we'll reset that. There's a little bit of a power glitch, Bree.
Yeah, there was, wasn't there?
Okay, there he is. I think that's him. Sarge, good morning. Okay, I had to figure
Paul,
this out.
are you there?
I think we're going to call our engineer here to figure that out. There's a power glitch. Phones need to reset that or something?
For us?
Yeah, probably. Okay. So, hey, we're going to take a break and sort this out here. We'll be right back with more of Containing COVID. Good morning.
Get all the latest updates.
Posts will feature profiles from Guamanians making a difference on our island home. Frontline Heroes is presented to you by Docomo Pacific. Stand apart so we can rise together. Docomo Pacific, better together.
Good morning. Hey, it's Containing COVID. Remember, we got a great Stay Home Live Local Fridays going down to 6:30 on the Edward R. Murrow award-winning social media networks at KUAM. And it's also going to be on KUAM TV8 and right here on Guam's favorite, I-94. Good morning, and let's try that again. We'll get Sergeant Paul Tapau from the Guam Police Department. Sarge?
Hey, Huffy. Good morning.
Good morning. Biba Betna. So I just wanted to get you on every week here. We're trying to get an update on what you got going on in the Guam Police Department. There was a story this week with those children, young children in Jotnia. What can you tell us about that, Sarge?
So really, you know, the case proceeding is taking its course. There's a MAGI report that's been released, and of course, you know, we want to afford the parents or the individuals responsible the rights to due process. But you know, rest assured that in that particular circumstances, our officers were able to provide the care and needs in assessing the kids, especially the most pressing needs was really giving them an opportunity to, you know, clean themselves up and, of course, provide them with some meals and everything. But, you know, we want to move forward with this case. It has been forwarded to CPS. The kids are still under the care of Child Protection Services. So that's a good thing, you know. But, you know, we continue to pray for the family. And, of course, hopefully one day, you know, the families can be reunited with the mom and dad. And hopefully, you know, the actions that the officers took can really help them, catapult them in ensuring that, you know, we're doing our part to assure the safety of the community. You know, if it touches one life or the entire community, you know, that's just what needs to be done.
Sarge, I know you talked with responding officers there. What were they saying about coming onto that scene?
You know, it's a lot of majority of our officers now, you know, the seasoned officers, we're family. You know, we have kids and everything. So personally speaking, it's really, it's the wanting to help and the needs assessment that needed to be done. So, you know, being whether you come in there in a police officer's mode or hearing testimony from the officers there was really, they had to do it because that was their parental duty. And of course, it's just our parental instincts that kicked in for that.
Right. What about, as we've seen, kind of inching back towards whatever normal life is going to be like, we're just starting to see it. I mean, maybe this is anecdotal, but an uptick of stupid crime in the Magis. Has that been keeping you guys busy?
You know, our officers still continue to do their daily aside this of the COVID operations, with the food distribution, the quarantine sites, the test sites, and of course our patrol, and we're seeing that the irony to it is that with the COVID operation, we've actually beefed up the precinct coverage, where each the precinct has it's an operation of I believe 1, and 6. From the northern to the southern end, to include our rapid response officers. So we're seeing a great deal of officers out and about, and they're really, the presence and everything that's going on, it's really making an impact on people reporting crime, and, the response of the officers, to include, of course, the omnipresence that's there with the added officers on beat. So, whether we're going to gauge it as an uptick or just a quicker response by the officers, I believe it's really the fact that people are reporting the crimes because they're home. We're getting more information as people see incidents that are happening. We just had the closure of the George Washington High School break-ins, and these are significant incidents that really led to people just reporting crime.
Sarge, we had a report that they had transported a drunk guy from one of the GovGuam quarantine facilities. Do you have any intel on that?
I believe that was last week, and I think they.
There was one last week. The guy who climbed out the window or whatever it was, and he was supposedly was drunk. But I'm thinking it was like overnight.
No, I didn't. We didn't get anything coming down from the stationary personnel at the quarantine site. So nothing of that actually came down towards the upper command site. Mm-hmm. But I believe last week there was an incident where one of the individuals that was in quarantine had to be taken out of the quarantine sites and actually been placed under arrest for criminal mischief and so forth. So these are things in which our officers have to respond to.
Right. Well, there's a lot of frustrated people in these quarantine facilities.
Right, but Sarge, when the officers do respond, especially to a location like a quarantine facility, I'm assuming the PPEs are all in place?
Yes, N95s, eye shields, gloves, and the protective clothing wear. So, we do have a donning and doffing station, a hot and cold zone. So, prior to COVID, our guys were post 9/11, the terror, preparing for terror attacks. So, just the line of training that we've received and donning and doffing, it's really, it's paid dividends because of, the fact that when the officer is called to take action, these are the appropriate measures in which we are, our training has prepared us for. So they're able to react. Our quick reaction team was able to react quickly and swiftly with minimal damages or minimal incidents to the officer. So, it really boils down to the training that we received prior to the COVID-19.
Do you have these, what did you say, dawn and doffing or hot and cold spots at every precinct?
Well, it's really the training, so I'm not so...
No, I mean, like, you got your PPEs, you got to take them off, throw them away, and all that.
Yes, we do. We have the specific N95s, the gloves, the latex, the heavy-duty gloves, the gowns.
Right, they're not reusable, right?
No.
You guys have a good enough supply?
Yes, we do. The command goes into, what we call our burnout rate. So we give them the numbers for our burnout rates and everything, and we, it gets refurbished on a weekly basis. Mm-hmm. So, one shift can burn 150 masks within a 3-day span. So, upon assuming shift, they'll replenish and refurbish the respective command with the proper PPEs.
What about testing? Have the officers been tested?
We've had officers been testing since April, so...
you have? Where do you guys go to get tested?
Where the sites are at. So, in accordance with what was, with the first responders, the line agencies. They,
do you guys go get tested at National Guard, or where do you guys go get tested?
It varies. It's really the coordination from the command and, of course, the public health administrators, and where the influx of the first responders are going to go. So fire will go to certain sites, customs, the Guam Police Department will go to certain sites. I know they are conducting tests at the Guam National Guard. So there's various sites in which we've actually been going to get tested. So
I thought that was so. It's not designated like our first responders go to the National Guard and get tested. It's just wherever.
Yeah, it's through coordination. It really is through coordination and availability of space and everything. But we've actually been continuing testing and stuff. So
how many officers have been tested?
That one I don't have the numbers to. Mm-hmm. I don't have the numbers to that. But in line with what has been released with the SIT report from Public Health, and of course.
No, I read the SIT reports, and if in fact that you guys do get tested at the Guam National Guard, it's been blank for a couple of days, as in nobody tested at the National Guard.
Yeah, so it's really, like I said, it's to the coordination of the command. Right. They'll coordinate as to where the test sites will be. So, our officers are also at the test sites providing perimeter security. I believe they're up at the Dedadu area, so they're working alongside with Department of Public Health.
Okay, so you don't have the number of officers that have been tested. Has anybody tested positive?
That one I don't know, but I know our officers are still have been assuming duty and stuff. So, we have officers that are coming out from quarantine because of travel and military. So, they've actually assumed duties. But getting the actual numbers, I don't have the numbers to that.
Mm-hmm. Who can get us the numbers?
I can look for it today. I can work towards that. So,
Sarge, can you tell us about the department's role in at the distribution sites for the food commodities?
That is really something in which our officers really take pride in to assist them in any ways, because when they first started it was really overwhelming, and understanding the need for the food to the community, the dire needs of what people are going through. So we're really providing traffic direction, security, perimeter security, and just maintaining a steady flow. Department of Education, they're the main source of distributing the food and everything. So today the line extended from, I believe, the Dedadu Flea Market as far back as towards like Paw. So this is really showcases exactly the needs for the services that are being provided to the community.
Sarge, so it's back to business as usual Monday for the government of Guam in the Guam Police Department. What other are all the services that have been closed during the COVID going to be available on Monday?
Yes, we've actually opened up our services when the government opened up in PCOR 2. Mm. So our records and ID section, there's some requirements that is needed in line with the executive order. Masks, maintaining social distancing. We've actually put up the barriers and everything. Our services bureau with the armory, people are able to renew their firearms, register their firearms, voting registry and so forth. So it's with the exception of everything post or pre-COVID.
So what's going to be different?
What's going to be different?
Yeah,
probably the wait time, and I'll be honest, everywhere you go, people have to line up, wait, because of the capacity in which the building can actually hold.
Right.
So there's going to be wait time. I think that's going to be that should be the expectation from everybody. That should be the new norm. Expect delays because, we want to maintain the safety of each and every patron, to include our employees, our civilian employees. So, just to minimize the amount of people in the building, we're practicing social distancing, and of course, affording how many people can actually be within the area.
Are you anticipating which of the services are you thinking is going to have the most backlog? Maybe police clearance or?
Probably be the police clearance, because of the expectations of the unemployment rate, and of course renewing to get the stimulus employment checks and everything. They may ask for these requirements. I'm not too familiar with the Department of Labor, but people are trying to get back on their feet, getting jobs and everything, and one of the things that are required is police and court clearance. Right. So that's one thing, and of course the claimants to traffic crashes and everything. People need their vehicles to get out on the road and go back to work. And if they can't do that, their cars are sitting at their idle because of damages sustained by a crash. They have to get their traffic report. So,
You know, there was
these are things in which we're preparing for the influx.
when we had the chief of the fire department on the show, when they launched their COVID response units, and just overall the type of disinfecting and sanitizing they have to do of their medics. What sort of protocols do you guys have in place, and how often do you guys sanitize the police cruisers and the units that you guys use? And
yeah, we actually have being assigned to the Central Policing Command. The beautiful thing about the seats, it's you're able to apply the cleansing solution and stuff. So the guys on a daily basis, these guys are when somebody new, we like to use the word foreign. When a foreign body enters into a controlled area, then we go into not disinfecting, but of course sterilizing everything back down to where we take the foreign substance out. So this is how we methodically operate. As something foreign enters, then we have to work back at sterilizing or sanitizing everything that we appear to be foreign. So like what they do in the medics is pretty much is what we do too. When something foreign comes in and goes out, then we bring it back to its pristine state by sterilizing everything that actually made contact with that, airing it out, and of course disinfecting everything that made contact with that individual.
Sounds pretty thorough, Sarge.
It is. You have to be thorough. You can't let your guard down and everything. So, repetition builds perfection, and of course, we'll be trained to for firearms. We use the terminology "smooth is fast." Right. And fast is smooth, so you got to be smooth at everything that you do, and pay attention to details because this is the new norm and what we do. And it's a common practice that we do at home personally.
Right.
Nothing foreign enters our house, so everything has to be sterilized prior to entering the home. So it's good practice.
Sarge,
for the officers.
I know before the COVID, you were involved the department. So many different outreach efforts into various communities here where we have, at-risk youth, troubled youth, or just youth in general. And I know all of that had to be put on hold, obviously, because of the COVID. So now that we're kind of going back to normal, I mean, we're still in a state of emergency, but everything seems like we're reopened. Are you going to start doing that kind of stuff again? Because I know you did a lot of great work with kickball tournaments and other types of outreach. So what's the status on those programs?
It's funny how you're asking that because I actually had 2-day meetings with our grant writers and everything, and we're actually preparing as if moving forward past COVID, and we're anticipating being able to provide some sort of service. We still have to continue the service to the most needed parts of the community, and hopefully make an impact. Help make an impact in their lives and everything. So we would have to make our adjustments. We would continue to assess where the services are needed. But, nonetheless, we're going to continue to move forward as if, the arrangements are how we see fit with, we're dealing with COVID and, of course, understanding the needs of the community. But, we're going to continue to work with the Department of Education. We continue to work with our community partners with Manielu and Micronesian Resource Center. We're going to continue to work with our Neighborhood Watch program, which has paid dividends throughout the whole isolation and lockdown because of the information that they help provide to the community. So these are our community efforts in which the Guam Police Department will continue to do, and of course make the adjustments in accordance with the COVID and how we move forward with that.
Right. Well, we've always partnered with the Guam Police Department, so just count us in with what you need.
Especially if it's kickball or any type of strenuous physical activity, be sure to count Brian.
That's great. It was when we were looking back when we were doing the Police Week, the memorial. We were preparing for the Junior Police Cadet Drill and Ceremony for Saturday, and that was right after a memorial. And we had over 400 kids that were gearing to go, and it was really something in which we wanted to showcase and bring forth into the Department of Education.
Right.
This service and learning, and it's a very different way of learning, but nonetheless the kids can gain something from that, and it gives them that positive building blocks as they move forward. So, it's a setback, but these obstacles and these conditions will allow us to go forward.
Right, and I want to ask Sarge, because I know that with these outreaches, what you're doing, what the goal is to create these relationships with the youth and the community, to show them that, hey, yeah, we're here for you guys. You can tell us stuff. So, how were you able to maintain those relationships during the COVID, or were you able to?
It's challenging. Because of the whole isolation and the lockdown and stay home and everything. So, as the community slowly trickled back out into the community, the residents, they start seeing the familiar faces and everything, and it's assuring when you hear kids, hey, they see through the mask and they recognize the eyes, and just a little appreciation of the kids who remember the officers that came to the schools and who provided this, and moving forward into the summertime, it's really, this is where we would actually ramp up our events and move forward in these activities. But, the work is there, the challenge is there, but, slowly working in with the community members coming back out, it's going to be, how we mitigate and how we move forward. But, we're preparing for that. We're preparing for, the start of the school. How do we make the adjustments to summertime? And, of course, providing the service to the community.
Right. Yeah, we're all waiting to hear what's going to be the plan for the upcoming school year. So.
Right. Yeah, everybody is. I myself too. I have kids too, so I'm a bit nervous, leery, and excited at the same time. I have a toddler that's, I don't even know how to grasp. For him to go back to daycare.
Right.
We don't even know what's up with daycare, so.
I mean, I'm not even sure if I want the kids going to school if they're school. Sarge, it's funny talking about all the school and the kids and stuff. I just was thinking, God, I think it was about 3-4 months ago. We were all up at Untalon, remember? And you guys were at lunch with a cop, and you guys eating with the kids and stuff. I don't know why I just randomly thought about that, but you miss those kind of things, Sarge?
I do, and it was really we had a nostalgic moment when we're writing the grants and we're just preparing everything, and just reminiscing about the number of kids we have actually, we've actually catered to throughout the whole calendar year of 2019. It was phenomenal. It was just like taken back by looking at thousands of kids, working with 400 kids at one time. Playing basketball to the entire, challenging going to FB Leon Guerrero and having the entire middle school kids cheering us on. It was really, these are things in which, we were, Guam Police Department's Community Affairs was really working towards the community, providing that service. And Chris, you're right. I do miss it. But, moving forward, once things get better, we'll
do it again.
We'll continue to work with the community.
Yeah. You let us know how we can help. Sarge, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Stay safe, and I know they're allowing people to have gatherings at the beach. Minimize the risk. Know the risks that are going to be associated with these gatherings. Plan accordingly. The beaches are open.
The bathrooms are closed.
Yep. So we'll look forward to that. You guys take care, stay safe, God bless.
You too, Sarge. Wash your hands.
We'll do, sir. Take care. God bless.
And really, if you're not going to the beach and you don't need to go anywhere, just stay home.
Yeah, stay home. We got a great Stay Home Live Local Fridays for you.
Yeah.
And remember, one of the parts of these advisories that they're putting out is they're advising the elderly and people with pre-existing comorbidities that may make them even more susceptible to the damaging effects of COVID-19. They're asking those people to stay home and to limit their excursions, I think was what the advisory said. So it's kind of weird.
Everything's opening up.
It's kind of weird. I mean, there's just so many contradictions. Like we're opening up dining restaurants, government of Guam's back to work as usual, right? Starting Monday.
But employees are allowed to telework.
Right. But then at the same time, we're still in an extended public health emergency. Right? So you can go eat in a restaurant. There's still things you can't do, right? Like you can't drop your kids to daycare. But I just think it's interesting how, on the one hand, we're moving full steam ahead, but on the other hand, we're, for whatever reason, still living under this emergency time.
It's all right, everybody. We're still under a public health emergency. It's in effect till June 30th. But hey, we're going to open up tourism in July 4th.
Right? It's just so weird. So hey, it's 9:54, and as we always do, so blessed that there's just no shortage of people doing good work out there in our island community. I mean, since we started this show, how long?
It was the day after. The governor announced the 3 positive cases on a Sunday. Monday, we had a meeting, and then Tuesday, we started that show. So what was it 15,
So it was like
16,
March
14,
18,
15, 16?
something,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so it's been over 2 months. Every day, we've been able to find someone.
on 3.
Right, going on 3. Every day, we've been able to find someone out there who's doing good work in our community and feature them at the end of the show. And I think that's, it's been easy, actually. It's been one of the easiest parts of the show because there's so many people doing so many good things individually, you know what I mean? And so I wanted to bring Gavin on here. Now, Gavin is a teacher, and we all know how the graduates have been struggling with no graduation, right? And so Gavin has done some really cool things, and we're going to bring him on here and kind of let him explain. But he's a kinder teacher, so let me just get you on, let you do the talking. Gavin, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Chris and Sabrina.
Hi.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Viva Business.
Oh, yeah.
So this is really interesting. As a teacher, I'm pretty sure you know firsthand the impact that not having this closure, right? I mean, it's what every school kid strives for, that ceremony, getting that diploma, getting the, wearing the cap and the gown and all that. And so that's been taken away from everybody, as you know. And I see in reading the messages you sent me and the pictures that were about to pop up here that you wanted to do something about that. So let's just start there.
Yeah. Oh, man. First, thank you for having me. And, man, I was just listening to you and the Sarge. You guys were like reminiscing and talking about, what it was like before, and man, that had me in my feelings too. And I know my students, my kids, all these students on Guam, they miss that normal life, and we just wanted to bring some type of normalcy and just try and contact them, put some smiles on their faces and just tell them, we're still thinking about you. We're still, wishing things were normal too, and wishing we could, see you every day like we do. And that's really, what we're missing. And, oh yeah.
What do you miss most?
I miss lining up and just conversing with my students. When they're having a bad day, just taking them for a walk, in the hallways, and just sitting down having lunch with them, and playing some kickball. I'll definitely get on that kickball field, and just to show them, man, like I love kickball too. I'm a kickball tetherball champ. You guys don't know this.
Who isn't in the South, right?
Yeah.
So Gav, I know that we're going to play these pictures here. So yesterday at Talafofo Elementary, the kinder teachers and you teamed up to decorate and give a festive promotion. So tell me about that as we play these pics of all the good work you've done to honor graduates.
Yeah, no, thank you. Please know that other schools definitely inspired us. CL and Truman, they were doing their stuff too, and we really fed off of that. They did a beautiful job, and parents were like, "Yo, Mr. Diego, can we do something like that?" I was like, "Man, let's try for it." And I ended up seeing Kinder trying to do the same thing, and like we're on the same frequency, and we're like, "Man, let's team up." And the shout out to my kindergarten teachers, my colleagues, they're amazing too. They made the day extremely memorable. Having our kids drive on through in motorcades, speakers blasting, us getting to see it. Yeah, it was like a traveling party. Everyone was socially distanced, but we're able to smile and laugh, like it was before. Man, it was awesome. It's awesome.
What's the reaction from the kids, Gavin, when you kind of saved the day?
No, I was like, man, we were both like emotional, like we were starting to like tear up. I was like, man, please know it's not goodbye here. Like, take some candy, please come visit. This is your school, like you can always come back. It's your home, And, shout out to so many of those parents. I see Deb Tyron. She done brought the whole Talafofo through the school, and so many motorcades came through. I can't stop repeating that. It was because ND was doing theirs as well. And a lot of them ended up going from ND to Talafoco and just really celebrating, and ended up at a beach somewhere. Just a good day.
Right on. Yeah. So that's why we wanted to bring you on, man, because obviously you being a teacher, I know you're close with the kids, and you seeing that need that you wanted to step up with your team and to do things to make this right for the kids. So we wanted to bring you on to share with everyone the good work that you're doing. And let you know that you're a COVID hero to us.
Oh, man, thank you. Man, everybody. So many other people. Please, I live with a teacher and 2 firemen, my dad and my brothers, and, my mom who works at DOE too. And I love my family, praise God. And, God's definitely keeping us through this. And, you open it up with saying we're blessed, and my family's definitely blessed, and we just want to give back,
Well, bless you, Gavin, and thank you for your time, Gavin. Man.
All right, man. Appreciate it. You guys have a great day.
You too.
All right.
Wash your hands.
Stay safe.
All right. There you go. Gavin Diego.
That's so nice.
That's cool, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, day. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening today. We always try and put on the best show that we can for you guys every day. Good job, Sabrina.
Good job. Just everything's reopening, starting to reopen. Just please be safe out there.
Right. If you're dining in, maybe you want to get a little takeout for us. We're not going to... Are you going to get mad? No, we're not. Hey, but again, shout out to our sponsors for continuing to give us the opportunity to get this show out to you guys on a weekday daily basis. So Cabo Enterprises, Ambrose Inc., IT&E, Coast 360, the Bank of Guam. To our viewers on KUAM TV 11, thank you so much for watching. All of our listeners on I-94. And again, thank you to Andy Wheeler and the I-94 family for allowing us to come in here and do what we can to contain COVID. Good job today, Sabrina.
Good job, Christopher.
All right, guys.
Good job, Joe.
Good job, Joe, sir. And also Ken Sanity from our digital team. Thank you so much.